another episode of the Scratch Track. This is a very exciting one for me because I've never really got a chance to sit down with this guy before and talk shop. And, we kind of we've seen each other in passing and at each other's gigs every once in a while. And I've never really got a chance to know about your life. So here we go. With me today is my friend Nathan Allen. He's a local musician, Tampa St. Pete guy, just like me. And a big deal for me, a big friendship to have in the beginning because of how easy it was to communicate with you and to, touch base and get information on places like that. So I always appreciated that about you, and you're one of the nicest guys in the biz, so well, I really appreciate you being here.
I appreciate the kind words.
Of course,
There's
man.
Probably a lot of people that would disagree with you, but I mean, like you said, you don't know me that well, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I might change my opinion after this.
You might. There's a good chance.
It's changing as we speak. So before we get rolling into your thing, plug your stuff. I want you to plug your shit.
Okay, so I have an EP that's on Spotify and iTunes and all the streaming services and whatnot. iTunes is the most appreciated way of going about listening to it for obvious royalty / money-making reasons. I mean, we are own small businesses, so we have to kind of push the things that drive revenue.
Very true.
So it's all on there. Title of the EP is It Had to Be This Way.
Yeah.
Recorded it in Bradenton at Burnt Orange Sound Studio.
Oh, no kidding.
So yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
Matt and Michael.
Yeah. A couple of my friends were down there doing something a couple years ago. Rochelle and Taylor from Long Drive Home, the Lilo, the band with God, what the fuck is that other guy's name? God damn it. I'm going to fuck this up. I am already in trouble. Sorry, guys. But Rochelle and Taylor, love you guys too. I don't remember when I first listened to your stuff, but I remember I specifically remember re-listening to it and then talking to you about it at Troubled Waters one time because I was like, I'm about to go in and do that. And I was like, I really like the stories that you were telling on it because it's kind of outside of the norm of it's very raw. It's just you and the guitar pretty much.
Just me and the guitar.
Are there drums on there?
There's not, actually. So the idea was to basically do it as a Here Are the Stories.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Love that.
Yeah, and then go in and eventually re-record the songs with a full band. And my intention was to do that last year.
Yeah, of course.
So I had a bunch of stuff lined up, and I was saving for that. And then I had a bunch of gigs that I kind of had budgeted what I was going to take from this 2 months of gigging and apply towards studio time. And then this is March of last year when all this planning was taking place.
Yeah, what happened then?
So
what happened in March?
Everything went to shit.
Yeah.
That's basically, and of course it's one of those when it first started happening, we're going to tangent a lot on this.
Yeah,
I can tell it's going to happen.
That's totally fine. Fine. Let's let it roll.
So with everything that happened with COVID, everything kind of slowly started snowballing as far as the shutdowns went. Mm-hmm. And then it was one of those all right, so we have local mask mandates. And then it's the next day they're like, no, we're just going to shut everything down for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And we didn't know
6 weeks.
Well, we didn't know how long everything was going to be shut down.
Right.
And then after 6 weeks, they're like, okay, we'll start opening restaurants, I guess. And then
do you remember when we were like, man, if we just make it to May, we're going to be great.
Yeah.
Remember that?
And
God,
then,
to go back to those days.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cute.
And then, so luckily I had some help through live streaming and a very supportive girlfriend turned fiance recently.
Oh, congrats, man.
Thank you.
That's awesome, dude.
So I haven't even told you that yet. Yeah.
No.
That happened right before Christmas. So.
Oh, good. Okay.
So she's very supportive and very helpful.
That's
and
awesome,
she's,
man.
An adult and way better with money than I am. So
Jasmine's the same.
Yeah. So she was able to help me until, some degree of unemployment stimulus, whatever. I was able
dude,
to
that's huge. Having a support system around that time is, it's, God, I don't know where I'd be without it. I mean, the generosity in the beginning of when we were doing live streams was so crazy. It was all these people that were
oh, for sure,
pretty much telling you with how much they were tipping you, this is how much we miss you. We want to be out and doing this again.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, I was moved to tears a couple of nights when I was seeing all these things roll in. I was like, Jesus, man, this is helping me get through not only the next month, but the next week. Like I had to win like every day.
Yeah.
I was like trying to not
sure.
spend as much during the day as I was, during this whole thing. And I quit my day job in December of 2019. Wow. So I had 3 months, and then I got kicked right in the ass.
Dixie's going on.
Yeah, she's on. We've talked about this on past episodes, but she's got a good nose for illegals. So she knows when someone doesn't belong in this country.
Oh God.
I'm kidding.
It's terrible.
We're in the first 10 minutes. We can't make any jokes like that.
I mean, yeah.
YouTube's gonna flag it.
Probably.
Like, this is hate speech. Yeah. Hate speech. No. But she does have a good nose, but not for that. Okay, so you were going to go in March, and then everything went to shit.
Yes,
obviously,
everything
and then
happened. So my goal was there was a single that I had. I say single like it's a real thing, but like there was a song that I ended up not finishing in time to put on the EP that I was like, all right, well, this is going to be the first full band track that I do. I'm going to kind of basically do it as like a teaser for an album.
Okay.
And it was going to be like, here's new content, in addition to all the, other stuff being re-recorded.
Right.
So the plan was to go to Fame Recording Studios in Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
Oh.
Yes. I talked to John Gifford, who is I don't know exactly what his role is there, but I know he's an important guy in there, at least in like setting things up.
I don't know him by name, but I know that, I mean, basically anything that was in that Southern rock scene was all Muscle Shoals, right?
I mean, Southern rock and soul and all kinds of stuff. So
that's pretty wild, man.
Yeah.
Is that Burnt Orange, was that the first time you've been in like an actual studio before?
Yes. That
first
was
time.
First time I was in there. It was
it's pretty wild, right?
Yeah, it was more of a consultation the first day that I was in there, and I was like, "This is wild." Like I had literally no idea what to expect.
Oh no, I remember going into Zen for the first time with Steve Connolly, and he is such a like music nut that it was impossible to keep up with him.
Right.
So like having Keith there with me, it was like, can you just translate can you translate this to me a little bit softer than what's going on right now?
Right.
Because I have no clue what he said.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a technical guy. I'm not a theorist. So when I'm listening,
so
that was what intimidated me about the studio in the first place. I was like, they're gonna be throwing all this fucking vocabulary at me that I don't know,
right?
And I'm gonna freak out. I can't play to a click track. And then like I went in there and we got everything done in 4 or 5 sessions for like full band style stuff. And I was like, this is not that bad. But the initial feel of like this is gonna be like the overwhelming nature of just being in a professional recording studio and like this is it, and like you're in charge of your songs and everything, that freaked the shit out of me, man. I was so nervous the whole time, but it ended up being a really pleasant experience. And like a lot of music in general is doing things that are going to scare the shit out of you and like sucking at it in the beginning for a little bit just get a little bit better. So speaking of that, we're going to get into your background a little bit, because I don't know a lot about you.
So,
what
would you like to know, Mr. Plummer?
Give me everything, man. Where were you born? When did you first start playing? All that jazz.
I am Pinellas County born and raised.
Hell yeah.
My mom is Pinellas County born and raised.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So, I was born Seminole, I think, technically, and then I lived in Tarpon Springs. For anybody not in the area, lived in Tarpon Springs for the first 18 years of my life. Moved away for 9 months to try my hand at college. It didn't go well.
Yeah, you and I have very similar.
There were.
It's striking, honestly.
Yes, there was some personal things that went down in that first year of college that drove me back home. Yeah. So I went back to Tarpon, moved in with my mom, and then was there for a couple more years, and then I've been bouncing around the area of Pinellas County for...
And where are you now?
I'm in Largo now.
Okay, and what's your address? No, I'm just kidding.
I'll text it to you later.
So, yeah, thank you. Okay, yeah, Largo. Buddy of mine lives out in Largo. He likes it a lot out there. It's
they're good and bad spots for sure.
It's pretty central to like
it is
lot of like Pinellas gigs.
Yes.
You're not too
Yes.
far from St. Pete. You're not too far from Safety Harbor.
And
Like
it's
the North County
crazy,
stuff,
yeah.
you're kind of not really in the middle, but like you're kind of, you know,
Right.
yeah.
So and I realized this New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
It took me the same amount of time to get home from Lakewood Ranch, like
Really?
Bradenton, as it does to get home from Mother's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mothers?
Yeah, it takes
Holy
the same
shit.
amount of time to get from Lakewood Ranch to Largo as it
Lakewood
does
Ranch is,
Bradenton.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
God.
So because it's all interstate, it's
Yeah,
super quick,
it's
especially if
true.
you're like at the end of the night and
That's
there's
true.
no cars on the road. So it takes me the same amount of time. So yeah, it's great centrally. I've actually been booking more stuff down Manatee County area because I realized it was
Yeah.
like that. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, it might take longer to get there because of traffic on the Skyway and whatnot.
Yeah.
But coming back, like it takes the same amount of time
Right.
to get, you know.
I think you told me a little bit about the Bradenton area and how I've been sleeping on that area. I've never been I've never played down there before. The closest I've gotten, I mean, I've played a couple Apollo Beach spots around here,
Right.
which are awful.
Are they?
Awful. For what I do, it's fucking terrible. I'm sorry. I know that there's gonna be people that hear this. They're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, is he
love
talking?
it,
Is he talking
yeah."
about me? Yep, I'm talking about you." It was just like I did one of these things where you and I have similar sets where we play. We don't. You do a lot more top 40 than I do, but you also have the Tyler Childers and the Jason
Right.
Isbells and like the slower like ballady songs
for
and stuff
sure.
like that. Like you do a good Journey faithfully. I know.
Thank you.
I like that one a lot. Yeah. And so you and I kind of play a relatively similar set in that deep cut kind of thing.
Style wise.
Yeah.
Not necessarily content,
Right.
but style wise,
Right.
for sure.
And I told him about this. I warned him. I was like, hey, just so you know, like I'm not like I don't do the sing along stuff.
Right.
I don't do the Sweet Home Alabamas and like Mustang Sally and Sweet Carolines and everything. He's like, no, they're gonna love you. I was like, and guess what? They didn't.
Right.
They didn't love me.
I feel like I should like start sending out riders to new venues. Like, hey,
Yeah.
here's a list of the songs that I don't play.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. Just by the way,
Yeah.
you're not gonna hear Sweet Home Alabama. You're
Yeah.
not gonna hear Wonderwall.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I can help it, and
Yeah.
unless somebody's dropping something with double digits or triple digits in the
Right.
tip jar, you're
Right.
not gonna hear Wagon Wheel.
Right. It comes with a price.
Yeah.
It comes
yeah.
with a price.
Everything's got its price. Even I do.
Yeah.
I am a musical whore.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to say it, but
Yeah.
it's a fact. I can't help it. Like it's the nature of the business that we're in.
In these times, it's so hard to say no to stuff like that.
Oh, for sure.
It's like if I see somebody waving around a bunch of money at me, I'll do everything I can to not play that song and kind of bargain with them.
Oh, for sure.
I'll bargain Brown Eyed Girl with Into the Mystic instead.
Yeah.
And be like, I'll do this one because I like this song.
for sure. Exactly.
but
And
but sometimes you just got to do it. You know?
legitimately, there's songs that I have gone out of my way not to learn because they're
same.
so.
It's everywhere.
Yes.
It's everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I always say. I'm like, you want to hear that song tonight? Go any other fucking
Yeah,
place but
exactly.
here. Like everybody else is doing
Right.
that song, and that's fine if they do. I don't care if they do. It's just that I'm trying to stand out a little bit because I'm like, and I'm trying to move my way up and not continuously just do the same shit over and over again.
And honestly, and I'm not obviously not saying any of this to like toot my own horn or be that guy, but
toot it, baby.
One of my favorite comments that I get after a set or after a gig is when somebody comes up and is like, "Man, I'm so glad you don't play all the same shit everybody else does."
That is the best thing that I can hear at the end of the night. I'm like, thank God that you recognize
Yes,
this.
but there's some times where I'm like doing a set and I'm like, I feel like it's all stuff that people are playing, but
Yeah.
I guess at the same time it's not because
Yeah.
I'll play some stuff and like go through a set and they're like, "Man, nobody plays such and such, nobody plays this." I'm like, really? Because I feel like it's a really popular song, and I hear other people like in my circle of friends that play it.
Right.
I mean, because we all really kind of steal songs from each other.
Oh,
It's,
yeah.
it's a real thing.
I've taken some shit from
yeah.
you for sure.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I
Like, I hear-
haven't been to a set recently, so I'm curious now to know what you've lifted from.
I can't remember what it was,
Of
but
course, now he can't remember. Of course.
So here's what it was. I haven't done this live, but I took a look at the song and I had to look this up. It's the This Past Weekend theme. The Shine song.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I heard you do that at Mother's. I was like, holy shit. I was like,
Bishop
Theo.
Gunn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the name of the band again?
Bishop Gunn.
Bishop Gunn, yeah.
So it's funny because there are a few songs that I have pulled directly from sources like that, and they're kind of Easter eggs to see if anybody
Yeah.
recognizes the source of it. Like
Is
I've
that-
started doing Laszlo Bain Superman, which is the theme song to Scrubs.
Oh, God. That dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that like I think 3 shows I did. I'll Be
wild.
There For You by the Rembrandts.
Yep.
I did that for a couple shows, and it was one of those things where I would pause when it got to the clap
Yeah, and just to
and
see.
just see who was paying
Yeah.
attention. There was one gig that I played where I started the song and this girl started going
Yeah.
ape shit.
Oh yeah.
And it got to the clap, and like 4 people clapped, and I was like, all right, there's a couple people here paying attention to what's going on.
Those ladies love their friends, man.
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
Don't get me wrong, it
Yeah.
was a great show in its time.
Yeah.
I'm more of a How I Met Your Mother guy.
I agree. I am
So-
as well. Yeah. I was always a fan of Barney Stinson, man.
Yes.
My
Neil Patrick Harris is he's like on my bucket list of dudes. You just like shake hands with
oh
and be
my
like,
God,
bro,
yeah.
like
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the man.
Yeah.
Yeah. My drunken alter ego in college was Swarls Barkley. Yeah. Anytime I get past the point of no return, my buddy James, who we recorded the most recent episode with, he was, I mean, the guy would just go fucking bananas. They'd be like, "What is his name?" He's like, "Don't worry about it. You're not gonna get it right. It's totally okay."
swirls.
Yeah, Swirls. So,
Old Swarly Bear.
so you're Pinellas County born and raised.
Yes.
Did you grow up? Because I don't really remember this being as big as it was when I was a kid. Did you remember growing up and like going to restaurants and seeing music
No.
at places? Because I don't remember that.
Well-
I was a Pinellas County kid too, and I don't. It's not a memory in my head.
So here's the thing. We were broke, single income household,
Okay.
raised by a single mother. So we didn't go out very much.
Yeah.
So it was one of those every once in a while when we did it was like Chili's, Olive Garden.
Yeah.
Like stuff close to home, one, and
Gotcha.
two, like,
Okay.
hey, what kind of deals are out there going on?
Yeah,
right now?
yeah,
So
right,
it
right.
wasn't like a going out to
Yeah.
like, because there's not a lot of corporate spots like that do
Right.
have live music. So
Right. Yeah, that's true.
There weren't a lot of restaurants that we went to that even would have hosted music.
Yeah. And if there are corporate places that have music, it's a fucking trap. Don't do it. It's not good. The last thing you want to do is email with the finance department about people that you're never gonna fucking
Yes.
see. They don't know you. They
Yes.
don't care. They don't care if you wake up tomorrow.
The people on premises
Right.
don't care either.
No idea.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we got to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, where's that guy? He's not here today. Okay, then fuck me. What are we doing? It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I just did my first like kind of corporate structure-y gig recently,
Right.
and I was like, this is a fucking nightmare. I was like,
So-
no one knows how to plug the house system in.
Yeah.
No one knows who. I don't know how I'm getting paid. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
So up until COVID hit, I had a weekly corporate spot, and it would suck because like you'd play the gig and you walk out with tips, but then it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks before you got the check from that gig.
I'd never
And it
experienced
was
that until
always
recently.
like running behind. It's like, all right, cool, I played tonight, and I just got the check from 3 weeks ago. That's great. It's awesome.
Yeah. So you don't remember that really growing up at all. I can remember like
Not as much, no.
my mom took me like when I was a teenager. My mom took me to see the Black Honkies a couple of times
Okay.
growing up, and they're like a Pinellas County staple. I mean, those guys put on a
for
hell of
sure.
a show. I mean,
For
it's
sure.
just insane. And when I was in high school, my cousin Sean he went to high school with or grew up with McLean from Jericho Turnpike.
Right.
So we used to go see him all the time in high school, and then I saw him a couple times in college, and then like I didn't start getting into the mindset of like, hey, I can kind of do this too, because the people I was seeing were so fucking good.
Right.
And
And,
then
and on top of that, it was full bands.
yeah, true.
Full bands that you
Yeah,
were seeing.
and
I mean, unless you were seeing McLean like doing his
right.
own solo shows and stuff.
No, it was always with the band. It
Right.
was always with the band at Frenchie's or a couple other places I can't remember. Maybe Smokehouse or something like that when they brought the and I always remember like, God, I'm never gonna be as good as these guys. Like these guys are crazy. And like I spent a lot of time in Orlando in college. I didn't go to school there, but I just would go there all the time. And I actually wrote a song about a dude who was like a badass street musician that people were just like not paying any attention to, just walking right by. Just like, dude, the guy was the most insane paint bucket drummer I've ever fucking seen. Wild stuff. You know, the guys that sit on the buckets or whatever, like
Does he
right underneath
play
the overpass.
like? Yes, Amway.
Right outside Amway.
I know exactly
Yeah.
who you're talking about.
Dude,
I don't
it was-
know him like
yeah,
personally
I
at all,
couldn't
but
pick
I
him
know
out of a crowd.
exactly who you're talking about.
Couldn't pick him out of a crowd. He's
Yeah.
underneath the bridge at the Amway Center, and like we were
Yes.
walking in there for a Magic loss, inevitably, of course, go Magic, and I just remember being blown away by this, and like people, I wrote a song about like the perspective of him just pouring his heart and soul into this, and people just walking by like not even giving a shit
Yeah.
that his fucking hands are bleeding, and like his arms are sore and he can't eat. You know what I mean? Like things like, it was just wild to me that these guys were so good, and I was seeing all these people that were so talented, and then I'm like, I'm never gonna be able to do that.
Right.
And then you got to get out of that mindset of like comparing yourself to other people in this business is like the worst thing you can possibly do.
Yes.
Because it'll make insecure people like me, and musicians technically most of the time are insecure people, psychologically damaged.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So anytime you do like the whole like, well, I compare and contrast, it's like it's gonna drive you fucking nuts. You got to just hone in on what you're good at.
Not even just with like talent level, and I hate the word talent.
Yeah.
Just in general, but timelines too.
Yeah.
And
everybody's
absolutely, and
so
like
different.
There's a total disconnect and like almost like a condescension between people who have other part-time income
Oh yeah.
and ones that are solely live music. And yeah, it's if you can do the solely live music and like you can fill your schedule that way,
Yeah.
go for it, especially through all this COVID stuff. If
Right.
you've maintained that,
Yeah.
I'm
Keep it
full
up.
disclosure, I've gone back to serving tables in mornings
Yeah.
because I just wasn't making any money otherwise.
Yeah,
So
well,
it was-
you got to do what you got to do,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
I mean, I respect that. I've looked at having to go back to work a couple of times, and then I just eventually was just like, you know what, I'd rather struggle and do something that I really love than go back to like I have no serving experience. I would do that in a second,
Right.
But I have no experience, so I don't want to go in there blind and like be like, the anxiety of that like kills me.
Right.
I'm like, I would have no idea. Like I've looked into certain breweries and like things like that, but like the hours are weird, and like it's also nighttime where I can't really do, I'd have to sacrifice a gig, but everybody's got a different deal, and I will tell you right now, there was nothing worse this year than knowing that you lost out to a gig. You lost a gig to a guy who already has a job during this time. I was fucking furious. I'm a champion for these people that are grinders and they work really hard, and like, I see people's schedules. I was like, oh, good for them, man. I'm never like, oh, fuck this guy.
But then there's the weekenders.
Yes, that take your shit, and I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I was like, you're making how much money a week doing your job, and then you're just gonna do this
Talking
for fun?
like,
I'm like
full-time salary.
Yeah, like health insurance, dental. Like.
Yeah.
God damn it. I was like, come on, man. Every time you see that, it would just like break my heart a little bit. But that's the difference between, the guys like you and I that do it all the time, and the weekenders are, the grinders, as they call them, like you and I. We, eat, live, and breathe live music.
You have to.
And yeah.
When you're in this line of work, you have to.
Yeah.
And it's one of those like, it's to the point where I think a lot of people don't realize, unless you have a friend who's a musician or a family member who's a musician, the amount of footwork and time that goes into not even touching the instrument.
Yeah.
Not even touching the instrument. The amount of time that goes into outreach and having to,
So that brings me to my first official question.
Okay.
When did you first start playing guitar, or your first instrument?
I guess technically, my first instrument was voice.
Okay. Were you in chorus and stuff like that?
I was in chorus all through elementary school, kind of just stuck with singing in the car and at home and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was so dumb, but like my friends would come over in high school and we'd have like karaoke sing along kind of things, like throw music on the home theater system and just like sing along to it.
We used to have a karaoke thing in our house too. I don't remember where, but I loved it. It was so much fun.
Yeah, so my friends would come over and we'd do that, and like, oh man, you're a really good singer. I'm like, yeah, like thanks.
Yeah,
just bullshit in the living room kind of thing. Yeah. And then I honestly, like, I feel bad because I don't remember like exactly who it was. There's a couple different people who take credit for showing me this video, but one of the first guitar videos that I saw that got me super into the idea of learning guitar was Max Sessions' video of John Butler playing Ocean.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy's a fucking animal.
So yeah, I saw that video and I was like, I should get a guitar.
Yeah.
And of course I said that for like the next year and a half. And then finally, my mom was renting out a room in our house to a coworker of hers, and she was like, I had a job. I was making money at that point. I was blowing money like every week buying like ridiculous number of DVDs at like Blockbuster and
Yeah.
shit. That's
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster is
Shout
still
it
a
out.
thing.
Shout out
Yeah.
Blockbuster. Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah, they're doing great.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
This is pre-recorded 7 years prior.
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
clip.
But yeah, so I was like blowing all my money on this stuff, talking about playing
Mm-hmm.
music and all this stuff. And Lisa was her name. She's like, well, why don't we just go get you a guitar?
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So we
Yeah,
went to the Guitar Center and I got like this cheap Epiphone PR150.
You still have it?
I absolutely still have it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever get. It's a piece of shit guitar,
Yeah,
but
I've never sold any of my guitars.
Yeah,
The first guitar I got was like $50.
Yeah,
I'll never let it go.
yeah, I've sold guitars. Not
You have?
not my proud. Yes,
Yeah.
one of my favorite guitars I've ever owned. I sold, but I
Yeah.
sold it to have a custom guitar built.
Oh, okay.
And
I sold my drum kit a few years ago, and that was heartbreaking.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh my
Well, the
God,
thing
I
is-
hated that because you make no money off of those fucking things. I mean, like
No.
it's like driving a car.
Yeah.
As soon as you take it off the lot, it's fucked. You're done unless you keep it up for like years, which I didn't do.
Yeah. So the guitar that I had that I got rid of,
Mm-hmm.
it ended up being a limited run, but like it wasn't announced that it was a limited run. It wasn't like, hey, we're only going to make so many of these and then not do them again.
After you sold it.
I didn't realize that was going to be a thing. So it was a Gretsch guitar. It was,
wow.
Yes. It
Interesting.
was, I mean, it was a Korean Gretsch, so it wasn't like a top tier.
Well, yeah, it's still that's interesting though.
But it was a semi-hollow body, center block, had the 3 Filtertron pickup. Well, I don't think they're technically Filtertrons because I
Yeah.
think that's. Anyways,
Yeah.
so it had 3 pickups, and then the middle pickup had an on-off switch. I loved the way this guitar sounded.
That's
but
awesome.
they're making like a kind of similar version to it now. They're using the same model number for it, but it's a completely different guitar. Completely sounds 100% different. And every once in a while, this guitar new, I think, was like $850, but you'll see it pop up on like Reverb and whatnot, and there are people selling it for like $1,100 because they're like so hard to come by.
Yeah.
And they're selling almost instantly as soon as people post them too.
Yeah.
So it's one of those like, one day I'll have that guitar again. I
Yeah.
love that guitar.
Yeah. No, it'll find its way back to you for sure. Yeah, it will.
But that being said, I have a really lovely custom piece that my very good friend of mine built for me, and I love that guitar.
The guy in St. Pete, right? Or
Well, actually, he started in Dunedin.
Dunedin.
Then he moved to Beach Mountain, North Carolina, and now he's out in Colorado. His name's Brandon Wayne Lewis.
Shout out Brandon Wayne Lewis.
Gable Guitars.
Nice.
Brandon Lewis. I mean, I'm just so used to saying his full name because it's how it shows up on social media.
Oh yeah.
But
It sounds more legit.
and
That
also, rest in peace to his grandfather, the namesake for his guitar manufacturing line, Gable
no way.
Guitars. Yeah, so he
just recently passed
Just
away?
recently lost his
Man,
grandfather.
That's
so
wild.
yeah.
Oof.
So if you're listening to this, which I'm gonna tag you when the video comes out because I mentioned your name.
I don't know when this will be coming out, but we'll
But when it
talk to
does,
yeah,
when it does,
it'll be soon. We're doing every other week, every other Thursday. So
okay.
we're gonna. I'm trying to stretch it out because I don't have enough content now to go every week.
Gotcha.
But eventually, when we start to get more guests on here and more regular appearances, we'll do it in every. I mean, because we're gonna dive into Isbell.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
a lot. So I'm excited about
Balls deep into
that.
Jason.
Yeah.
Isbell.
Oh yeah. When did you get your first? Like when did you play it?
Again, tangents.
Yeah, I know.
So,
It's okay. That's what this podcast is all about.
So I actually got the guitar. I was 16.
Oh wow,
16 or
that's the same.
17 maybe.
That's when I got mine too, right around that time.
So yeah, I started out with like, all right, I'm gonna try to play John Butler stuff. Yeah, exactly. You laugh because you know.
No, because I was a Dave Matthews guy, and I was
Okay,
like, this
yeah.
guy, this is fucking impossible.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you doing this?
Yeah,
like just make it
So
easy.
Then I was like, all right, well, like what songs sound easy? And then of course, like you go into like all the details, and it's like, oh, all the stuff that sounds easy is like ridiculous too.
Yep.
So like,
Yep.
got into like the 3-chord songbooks and like getting the muscle memory on like chord
Yep.
changes and stuff down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then of course there's like, to this day I'm terrible with time. Like when I was in the studio,
Yeah.
the worst
it's tough.
the worst part for me in laying down the guitar tracks was staying on time with the metronome. I hated it.
It's tough. It's one of those things where like I thought I was gonna suck a lot worse than I did, but I'm a drummer by trade, and like I grew up keeping meters for guys who were wildly out of control. And that wasn't to say that they're bad musicians. It was just like they were adrenaline junkies, like on stage, and I'm like sitting back here like trying to keep it up. And I would get carried away too sometimes, but I just remember like sitting down and like hearing the stuff in your head, and you're like, oh my god, I started freaking out immediately. I'm like,
So
I'm never gonna be able to get this, and then it was like a muscle memory thing where I just kind of honed in on it. But it's tough to do in the beginning for sure.
So that's a big part of why I've never like worked with looping. Because
I thought you did. You don't do
there's a couple songs that I do some backbeat stuff for.
Yeah, okay.
But I intentionally or not play around with dynamics a lot as far as timing, speeding up and slowing down during songs. So it makes it very hard for me to lock into right. And that keeps me playing solo and keeps me playing live and
I'm the same way. I bought a loop pedal to like see what the buzz was all about, and then like I went out and I was like, wait a minute, everybody's doing this.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's fine if you want to do that. That's good, but if you're gonna do it, you got to be good at it. There's a ton of people that I know that are amazing loop players and really fucking good.
Yeah.
But then there's also people like me. If I were to do it, it would be like, it's like you're not really offering anything better to the song. You can capture the emotion and the story better with just one voice, one guitar, rather than doing something like that. So that's why I always just avoid it, because I can't. Yeah,
I feel that on a deep level.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like for the people that do it, like more power to them.
Yeah,
like you said, there are some amazing loop artists out there, and we're not gonna try to name drop too much, but there's some great players out there.
Yeah. I don't want to mention it because I'll leave somebody out.
Yes,
I'm
exactly.
Gonna forget somebody and be like, "What the fuck, man?" Like, I don't want to put them in like rank order or anything. Taylor Reed.
Yeah,
dude, that shit's wild. That's insane.
I don't care what anybody says. Any loop artist in the area will point to Taylor as one of the top.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
for
agree.
sure.
I see her stuff all the time, and I'm like, what the like, it's just. Yeah. I mean,
and nicest human being ever.
Yeah, and then my favorite loop daddy of all time is, the greatest of all time, Mark Rebier. You know, the man.
I don't know him.
The guy with he's the dude with the glasses, and he takes off his clothes during the live streams. Look at that ass. That guy.
Oh God, yes, and the dancing.
The loop
dancing
daddy. Yeah.
Oh God.
He's got
phenomenal. The RC 505 up there on his little thing.
And just the keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he's the greatest, man.
Trying to throw some product placement in there for you. See if we can get
this podcast is brought to you by Boss. Yeah, that'd be great. So when did you first play live? Like, when was your first official gig?
My first official. See, there's a large.
Like what your open
gap. So
not an open mic, like a full set where they were like, here you go, you're gonna make this much money for 3 hours or whatever. Like, when was that?
I want to say that was actually at Mellow Mushroom.
Oh.
I think I was able to finagle my way into bullshitting through an entire gig at the restaurant where I work. So.
Is it which one do you work at again?
Clearwater.
Oh, Clearwater. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that one, man. God. Is that the Jam Band one was in West Chase. Not West Chase, but like the Oldsmar area.
It was Citrus Park.
Yeah, Citrus Park. Yeah, thank you. That's the one that closed, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, fuck. That was always my favorite one to go, because they had a bunch of Dave posters everywhere.
Yeah, because the owner was a huge Dave fan. Yeah. But anyway, so that was my first like full gig, first time playing live. And I wanted to tell this story because it was people hear it and they're like, "What the fuck?" Like, yeah. So I was working as a guitar tech for a local fingerstyle guitarist, and so. In like working with him, with him for a couple of years, and we've gone on the road together, or whatever. Like stay in hotel rooms. I'd bullshit on the guitar, like while we were sitting just chilling, whatever, before shows, whatever. I'd help basically play the guitar through sound check, so he can kind of hear front of house, whatever. And so one night in the hotel room, I'm playing a song, and he's like, "You should get up and play a tune." I'm like, "Nah, it's not gonna happen." Like I'm a behind the scenes guy. Like, I was going to school for resort and hospitality management with a concentration in event management.
Wow.
With the intention of running a concert venue. That's what I wanted to do since I was a kid.
Wow.
So
that's a cool little goal.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then that fell flat on its face. changed my major when I left that school to English, and then never finished anything after that.
Yeah,
So,
I got it, man. I'm right there with you.
yeah. So I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And then got up. He played a show at the Capitol Theater in Clearwater.
Love that venue.
Yeah, it's great. And it was, this was after the remodel, because I had worked shows there with him before the remodel, back when it was the smaller Capitol Theater before they expanded it.
Yeah.
And this was, I think, the first show he did there after the remodel. And during sound check, he had a couple of his guys with him, and then like, we're gonna do a song, for sound check, whatever. I was like, all right, yeah, that's fine, whatever. So I got up, did a song with the guys during sound check, and then like during the show, is like, all right, well, we're gonna get my buddy Nate up here. He's gonna do a song, and I was like, no. I was like standing side stage, like, changed my mind, don't want to do it. Just kidding. Yeah. Nope. Got up there. The first song I ever played in front of a crowd, it was "Windows Are Rolled Down" by Amos Lee.
Amos Lee.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, so that was the first song I ever played in front of a crowd.
That's another guy too that I love that you incorporate him into your sets often, because I only know Sweet Pea, but I turn on Amos Lee all the time in the car. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's amazing.
And it's one of those
like butter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's one of those artists like there's a few artists that I play their songs, and like I play them with the disclaimer of like, if you haven't heard this song, this artist, go check them out.
Yeah.
But not immediately after hearing me do the song, because then you'll realize how bad I suck.
Give it a day.
Yes.
Give it a day, and then be like,
rest
oh
on
yeah.
it. Like, remember this being a good performance.
Right.
And then go listen to them.
That's pretty crazy though, man.
Yeah.
So that's the first time you played in front of people?
Yes.
Holy shit.
And then I started writing songs, and then I started doing open mics. And
dude, that's fucking sick. So how many people would you say were there? And what year was this, by the way?
Oh, shit. It would have been at least 6 or 7 years ago. Like I said, it was right after the remodel of the Capitol Theater. So I don't have
you
an
and I
exact
started
date on
pretty
it.
much the same time then.
Okay.
I started playing open mics at 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
So it was somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And then after that, I mean,
wow,
I got to play on some pretty cool spots, like Eddie Owen Presents up in Duluth, Georgia.
Yeah.
Duluth or Decatur, one of the D towns outside of Atlanta.
Yeah, okay.
He sold Eddie's attic, and he opened another venue called the Red Clay Music Foundry.
Wow.
And he had, Eddie Owens Presents was his.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So
you play a lot of cool. You play a lot of cool spots, and you've done what I wanted to do, which was what I was planning on doing this year, was to kind of travel. Because I was asking you about some spots. I remember you mentioning a couple spots in North Carolina that you love, and I think we were talking about, Georgia that you were just mentioning now. But there was a couple of spots. I think maybe it was Denver you were talking about, or somewhere in Colorado that you played.
No.
Have you played out west?
I have not played out west.
No?
So my farthest show away that I've booked and played myself. I'm not sure which is farther, Raleigh or Asheville. But like it's
North
state
Carolina.
Regional, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Okay. Damn. So 2014, you're up there, and then just
and then
ripping it.
That's when I started writing stuff. Is when after that first performance, and I was kind of like noodling on stuff in like hotel rooms and stuff, and like I was in GarageBand, putting like tracks together, and I was like,
I used to do that too, and mess around with it and see what I can create.
Nothing ever came from any of it at all. I still jump in there every once in a while because it comes default on it. Well, I think I like paid for it 7 years ago, and then
it's on here, and it's on
like every
So you've been playing live for 7 years, and you've been doing it full time technically for how long? If you exclude this dog shit of a year or whatever, what are you?
I would say probably 3 or 4 years. So it hasn't really been that long.
Yeah, same. I've only been really doing it full time for a little over a year now.
Gotcha.
But technically, I mean, I say full time because it's the only thing that I do, but I'm not making full time money, obviously. But there were tons of spots that not tons, but there's a handful of spots that picked me up off the ground this year. In 2020, that were like, hey, we're going to give you a shot and help you out here because I know it's been completely fucking terrible.
Which is awesome.
Which is great, but for one of those spots, there's, 5 more that completely turned their back and like forgot.
Oh, for sure.
It's
for sure.
And I understand that there's a lot that went on with this year, but the thing that 2020 did, and this is going off on another tangent, but we'll get to the album That's going to be the subtitle of this podcast. We'll get to the album eventually. Yeah. So the thing that I loved about 2020 was that like it reminded me and like kind of reiterated the fact of who I want to have a relationship with in this business.
Yes.
And who when the chips fell this year, it will immediately turn their back on you.
Oh, for sure.
And who will fuck you around and who will, immediately try to undercut you with the price and like, set you up to fail. Like there are so many of those people that did it. Now, I'm not saying that I don't hang my head about that. I don't think about those people when I go to sleep. I just know that they're not people that I want to do business with.
Exactly. You just don't talk to them anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. There's, you just ghost it. Who cares? Just like they did to you.
Yeah.
But there are so many places that aren't like that make it so much better to so much easier to pick yourself up and like help you win the day of like just making sure you can afford to
for sure
drive and pay tolls to gigs and shit and like little stuff like that. So but yeah, so I've only been doing it for
there's definitely some
year.
like names and faces like popping into my head right now.
Yeah,
like,
same.
Thank you. Again, not gonna name drop too much to make this the podcast of gratuity.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. I don't want to leave anybody out, so I won't. But if you think I'm talking about you in a positive manner, you're probably right.
Exactly.
And if you got it twisted, then I don't know what to fucking tell you, man. Yeah. Sorry.
Although there are some people, if you think we're talking about you in a positive light, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Do you have a pre-show ritual that you go through, or like something that like you do to get it, like something that you drink before, or something that you listen to, or whatever? I don't know.
There's a playlist of songs that I have that I will like sing on the way to a venue, and it kind of gives me a gauge of where I'm at vocally for the day.
Okay.
Because like I can warm up as much or as little as any given day, and and probably vocal coaching would help this, but where I feel my capacity is for that gig is gauged by how I feel through singing them on the way to the gig.
Yeah, I can identify with that too. There's a couple of ones that I'm like I got to see where I'm hitting notes and whatever, but I don't have a specific like warm up cool down, which is bad, but
same way.
It's I just kind of use certain songs as like a gauge in the beginning of the set to kind of see where I'm at, because like I never know what I'm gonna get, because my sinuses are always fucked. I have acid reflux now, so like that's always messing with me.
It is hell to get old, isn't it,
dude? It sucks. All this shit has been going on with me. How old are you, by the way?
I will be 29 probably by the time this episode airs.
Okay, so I just turned 28 like 2 weeks ago.
Gotcha.
Or 12 days ago, so almost 2 weeks ago. So happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday when this comes out. Yeah. And yeah, I had my worst health year this year. It was,
of course, it would be the year to
horrible.
have the worst health year.
Yeah, I had a bad back thing. I remember I had to give you a gig because I couldn't fucking move that one time. The country
River
club
Hills,
gig. Yeah, and I was like, dude, I hated giving that up because like somebody reached out to me to cover, and then like I went to pick up my shit to load it in the car the night before, and I was like, oh god. I was like, because I had already had a back problem before, like a couple months before. That put me in, like I almost had to go to the hospital because I was like, fuck, dude, this is like a 10 out of 10. I couldn't even put on pants.
No shit.
Yeah, dude, Jasmine was like dressing me, like getting me out of the door. Like I was in a serious amount of pain.
I didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah,
like,
so
really
the second time wasn't as bad, but it was kind of like I was at the top of the roller coaster, and like I was like, like it was like I was hanging on. I was like, every movement, I was like, oh god, please don't, because I was like about to just take the fall and just everything was gonna collapse. So I was like, it's probably better if I just stay home and ice and not fuck my shit up, because the last thing I need is like to get there and load in,
right? And
then I go to sit down and I'm like, oh my god, I can't fucking do it. Because the other time where I had the back problem was when I played at the what's the bike place in Dunedin.
Cafe Racer.
That was the week after my back got fucked up, and I had a double that day, and I gave away the other gig because I was like, dude, right. I can't. I was like, I only played at Cafe Racer for like 2.5 hours because it was raining and nobody was on the trail.
Right.
Cool spot though.
Yeah.
I like the spot. There. Yeah. And I just like the whole lower part of my back was like so tight, and it was like, oh my god, this is the worst. I couldn't, because my guitar's not that heavy, but it feels like it's 100 pounds when my back hurts.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's like I just couldn't do it. So
And then like breathing. For,
yeah.
Oh,
And like oh god. Okay, so that the worst health year of my life was, of course, this year. So yeah, I do the same thing though with the pre-show deal.
Yeah.
I just kind of like load some songs in there, and
also like I realized that I can't eat within like
oh no.
hour and a half, 2 hours of playing,
Nope.
because like I don't know what it is, but like I get like indigestion or heartburn, whatever, to where like if I try to eat anything in that time, especially anything like heavy, like it just I do not enjoy the gig.
It all settles right here for me.
Yeah.
So like I can feel like when I go to hit those notes, I'm like, it's like coming up. I'm like, damn it. Yeah.
And of course I've watched all the videos and all like here's the foods to avoid.
Yeah. Right.
Like it's gotten to the point sometimes where like, especially like if I know like the next day is like a double or whatever, like the night before I'm not even, I'm eating like super clean, super like bland food basically, just to like make sure there's no like digestive issues or like heartburn or anything the next day.
Do you do a lot of doubles?
Not a lot. More so in the beginning part of the year because you get into February, March, spring break and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of places, I can't speak for everybody, but like a lot of places don't necessarily have live music during the
afternoon.
day.
Yeah.
So and the ones that do, they've usually got guys that have been doing that shift for years.
Forever. Yeah.
So
I've only done maybe 3 or 4 doubles. I don't like doing them.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan either.
I just sing so hard, and it's such a strain. Like when I'm done with those 3 hours, I'm like, oh god, I just want to like, because there's people that can do it that sing effortlessly, and it's like not an issue at all. But like I am just fucked. Like if I'm done, like especially if like Keith and I were doing like a Dave show. Dude, I am gassed after that.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're like, you want to go get a drink? I'm like,
by the time
no, I want to go to bed.
Yes.
I was like, I can't fucking sing anymore. I can't talk. I can't move. I mean, because we play 3 hours straight too. Like Keith just goes. We just go through the whole time. I only don't take a break when I'm playing with him. I have to. I always set it up to where I'm like.
There was a stretch there where my gigs were awesome. Like crowd was into it and everything. So I was only taking like 1 10-minute gig, 10-minute break during like a 3 hour set.
Yeah,
like,
same.
I have to like stop and like
dial it back a little bit.
Chew on some ice for a few minutes in between sets, so that way like because when the crowd's into it, I go full tilt, like balls to the wall, like I have a another 4 hour gig tomorrow, like well that's gonna sound like shit because I'm having so much fun tonight kind of thing. So like,
do you drink when you're up there? I mean, like, is there stuff that like warms you up or fucks you up?
Water is my usual go-to. Like I don't know. You've probably seen my giant Yeti that I keep with me.
Oh yeah,
yes. So I have a comically large Yeti jug that my fiance got for me a couple years ago for my birthday that I drink out of at gigs, and it's over like it's a gallon. Yeah. So I keep that with me. But as far as like teas or anything like that, alcohol, because we play a lot of bars, obviously. Yeah. So I try to limit the alcohol consumption to the last set. So like if I'm playing like a 4 hour gig, like I'll play the first 3 sets without having a drink, and then my break going into my last set, I'll have a drink. But then you'll have people throughout the entire thing, and it's like, let me buy you this, let me buy you that. It's like, well, I'd rather you just take that money and throw it in the tip jar.
Yeah, right.
Like that $7 you're spending on that craft beer, while I appreciate it.
Right. Yeah, let me get you a shot. Yeah. Oh, okay. Like, there's some times where I have to turn them down, and I hate turning it down because I love drinking so much.
Although there are some times, there are some times where I'll hit like my Friday of my work week, and especially if it's been a really full week of gigs, to where like that little bit of Jameson, like just it'll get you through the gig. It doesn't matter how bad your throat hurts. You hit that Jameson with it, and it's like, okay,
warm you right
cool.
up.
Now I can't feel that. Let's keep going.
Warm you right up. Yeah. That's a good. That's always a good. Like I do a little whiskey before gigs and stuff like that. So it's it helps. I don't do it during gigs because I just think it's a little. Yeah. If I open up that floodgate, it can become the best night of gigging or maybe the worst ever.
There are some times at like a venue where I'm super comfortable, like a bar that I'm super comfortable playing at, where I'll have a little more than I usually would.
Right.
But I will never get to the point to where I'm not sober by the time I'm packed up.
True.
So
yeah, Troubled Waters is that place for me. Like
Right.
I'll have the secret drink. Steph, what's up? She always pours Chardonnay in like a plastic cup. So I'm like, they're like, what are you drinking? I was like, it's a sour. It's a sour beer. It's really light. It's really light. But yeah, I do that. I'll have like a couple more than I typically do. But by the end of the night, I'm not like, you know.
Exactly. But it's one of those things that like it does loosen you up. It does kind of like it gets you out of your own head to a degree. But as long as you can like walk that line of like between like, all right, I'm out of my own head, but still coherent in what I'm playing kind of thing. Like the people that just get drunk and like you can hear them slurring the words of the song. It's like they could be playing note for note everything they want to play, but like you can hear it sound like Zoidberg when they're singing the songs.
We when I was in college playing in a band, I was a drummer in a band in college, and we signed up for an open mic to get some practice reps in front of a crowd. It works with some original material that we've been writing in the house, and we're like, let's just go play it live. Let's see how it's perceived. And we get there, and it's packed. And the list is like 12 or 13 people deep. So we're like, okay, we'll just chill for a little bit. You know. Oh, boy. Uh-oh. Scared the bejesus out of me.
It scared me, too.
Are you all right, dude? It's those illegals. They're back. There were 12 to 13 people deep, and we're a four-person band. And I drank and did drugs the least in this band, which is, for those that actually know me, very surprising. So, not saying anything bad about those guys because I love Will, Elliot, and Adam. You guys know who you are. I love these guys to death. They taught me how important practice reps were. They taught me how important it was to have a brotherhood and a friendship in a band rather than just have people that are just like, you know, just dudes that you found, you know what I mean? Like, I don't agree with the whole, like, we don't hang out deal. Like, I get it in a sense, but it's like,
there's a certain amount of chemistry that
you
has
have
to exist off stage for it to show through on stage, in my opinion.
I bet you this is a fucking neighbor being a dick. Shout out to my neighbors. Fuck you, honestly. All of you. I can't stand any of you. I can't stand your fucking loud dog. I can't stand the fact that you don't leash your fucking small dog that runs across the way. I can't stand that you park over the line. And these are not the same person. They're different people. So to my neighbors, go fuck yourself. Thanks for giving my dog an anxiety attack all the time. Oh, and the fucking fireworks still haven't stopped.
Still?
Well,
with like 3 weeks into January almost.
I think 3 nights ago they were still happening. Dude, it's insane. So back to the open mic story. So we go and we're 12 to 13 people deep, and we all started drinking and just didn't stop until we played. And we got up on stage and played a 3 or 4 song set, and we all got off and we're like, "What did we just play?"
Oh shit!
Like the next day. So the next day we have a band meeting. We're like, "Okay, guys, here's the new rule: 2 drink minimum and maximum." Okay? No more of this shit. Because we were like, oh my God. Because it happened to me previously when I was running the open mic. I was drinking. The bartender used to make these shots called redheaded sluts.
Oh, yeah.
You heard of them? Okay. Yeah,
slut,
very familiar. Yeah. I don't do them anymore. But it was fucking phenomenal. Yeah. I told the bartender, I was like, I like this so much. I want you to pour it over ice and just make a drink out of it. Yeah. So I start doing that, and they're like, people are like, "What is that?" I was like, "It's 8 shots in one." So I go up and start playing, and I get off the stage. I'm like, I'm gonna be sick. I was like, I don't know what I played. I don't know who I played with. I don't know how I sounded. No idea. I hope when I die, I can figure out what exactly happened that night, because I have no clue. But yeah, the drinking before and after the gigs are like a totally different thing. Like when the best part of my week is when I know I don't have a gig the next day, and I can go out and like have a couple old fashions, like chill a little bit, or get wild and not have to worry about my voice, because alcohol fucks my voice up the next day so badly. Yeah. Where like I played a wedding last Saturday and drank 4 or 5 beers on Friday night, and I get in the car. And I'm driving, and I'm like warming up my voice for the song that I'm gonna have to play while they're walking down the aisle. Right. And I was like, "Oh boy," I was freaking out. Because I'm like, the guys were like, "Hey, you want a beer before this show?" I'm like, "No." I was like, I just have to get this right. I just want to get this one right. So anyway, okay, so we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna get into Jason Isbell's Southeastern, which has recently become, since I've heard it, one of my favorites of all time. I mean,
it's definitely there.
It's up there. So I'm gonna check and make sure everything's good. Take a quick break, and we'll be right back in just 1 second. Okay. All right, we're diving into it finally. This is one I've been really excited about doing. When I first had the idea for the podcast, this is an album that I really wanted to get into because it helped me through the quarantine so much. I listened to this shit nonstop. And
as soon as you announced the podcast, I was like, yo, this
dibs.
is fucking dibs. Yeah. This is my shit. If we're going to be talking about albums, like easily, I'm jumping on this one now.
So, okay, so I want to get into this question right away since we're already kind of dancing around it. Where does this rank in your albums, your all-time list?
It's probably top 3 for me.
Oh, wow, really?
Like, honestly, just from, like, cover to cover, like, beginning to end, like, it is such a well-written and such well-produced album. Like, it just... Yeah. And honestly, like... If you were to ask me my top 10 albums, it would change from day to day.
Oh, of course.
Like 100%. Absolutely. So like,
my shit changes all the time. Yeah. I know like my top 3 like interchangeable, but like you go anything beyond that, it could just hit me on a different day. You know. I'm
gonna go out on a limb and say Dave's probably.
Yeah. It's quite the limb you went out on. Yeah.
What's that? Little,
yeah. Well, I actually have a mask too that matches it.
Do you?
Yeah, but I don't like doing it. I don't like wearing it out in public because I just found out that it makes. People talk to you that you don't want to talk to.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is why I don't like bringing my dog out in public. That's the only reason why. Because I was like, you know what I hate about dog ownership is other dog owners.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
Yeah.
Just the people that want to come up and like, you know.
They want to hear your dog's life story.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't want to tell it.
If I have my headphones in and I'm walking my dog.
Yeah, please stop.
That's probably a good indicator that I'm not trying to talk to anybody.
Yeah, that's when you hit them. That's when you hit them with my classic, oh no, that's okay. And then just keep walking. And then they'll think you didn't hear them, and then the conversation's done. So,
or just go give them the generic thing that I do on the mic all the time too, by the way, which is the
yeah. Just the thing. Yeah, oh yeah, I heard you. I definitely heard you.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know what you said. Oh yeah. So so it's a top 3.
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
When did you hear it for the first time?
It was a few years ago. I had kind of been turned on to Jason Isbell by a friend of a friend's daughter.
Okay.
Actually, the guy that I was working with, it was his buddy's daughter. He was a huge Jason Isbell fan. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, she's a fan. Like, she's got good taste in music, so I'm going to give this dude a listen. And so I started listening to him, and I was like, holy shit. Like,
I don't know if I'd heard a song by him until maybe a couple years ago, to be honest.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to front, and, you know, I'm not going to be that guy that, like, I remember when this first came out. Like, I don't remember because it didn't hit my radar because it's such a different style of music than what I listen to. Not saying it's bad or you know, worse than the stuff that I was listening to, but I will put this album in this style up against anything around this time or now. Mean, anything at all. Like the top half of this album alone. I mean, all of this, every single song. Until that flip, I mean, there's and stuff in the back end is really good too. But the first side of this album is just like,
it's almost like they planned it that way.
Yeah, right.
It's like they almost planned out the order of the songs.
Yeah.
To kind of punch you in the face with the side A.
Oh yeah.
So, but, so like even
a couple years ago,
even in the first listens, I wasn't really like diving deep into it. Yeah. So it was one of those like, oh man, this is really good. Mm-hmm. And then I don't even know what happened. Mm-hmm. I think I might have like re-listened. Because I have days where I will sit and just like analyze songs.
Like a deep listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll do it not necessarily the particular artist or particular album, but I'll throw on like Pandora or Spotify playlists from a specific genre or like. You know, you go to a song and you can hit like start radio and it plays kind of similar music. Yep. I did that with something. It might have been, I want to say it might have been Traveler.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So it might have been that,
that.
and I started the radio on Traveler.
That's another one of my favorites too, man.
Chris Stapleton, by
God
the way.
damn it. That album changed my whole mindset of what country music could be. Because I
Yes.
was like, all right, it's over now.
Yeah.
Like, and around that time. And then I
Yeah.
heard that. I was like, what is this?
That
And then they're like, hey, by the way, have you heard of these guys too? Because
Yeah.
they're like, they're
So-
the Nashville songwriters.
exactly. So that's kind of how I started doing the deep dive on that. Which, by the way, side note tangent, we bring up Chris Stapleton and Traveler. We talk about Jason Isbell and Southeastern. You can't talk about these albums without talking about Dave Cobb.
Yeah, so I don't know a lot about him, so elaborate on him a little bit.
So just to give you a little rundown on some of the artists that he's worked with, like this,
He's a familiar name, but I just don't. I didn't
So-
do my googs before the
Chris
show here.
Stapleton,
Yeah.
Traveler, and Starting Over.
Oh wow.
Yes. Jason
Okay.
Isbell, Nashville. Basically everything from this point forward
Okay.
was
From-
produced
for
by Dave
Isbell.
Cobb. Let's see. I wrote down some stuff here. Good Luck with Whatever, Dawes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he
Dawes.
produced that album.
Okay.
Marcus King Band, Jamie Johnson, Houndmouth.
Houndmouth.
Yes, so
Dude, I love
the
Houndmouth.
album that has Sedona on it.
Yeah,
was a
Little
Dave Cobb
Neon
production.
Limelight.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, I have that on vinyl.
Yeah.
They are from my dad's hometown, actually, New Albany, Indiana.
Oh wow.
Yeah, small town, and I saw them live at the Clearwater Jazz Fest. I could talk about Houndmouth for a while. They changed my whole perception of what indie
Right.
rock could be. And I was like, these guys
See,
are
to
fucking
me,
killer, man. I love that.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't like their new trio stuff though. Like I like
Fair
with the female Katie Toppin or whatever her name was when she was in the band, man. Oh my god, the keys and the fourth harmony that she'd bring.
Yeah.
I mean, God, it was unbelievable. I
So,
loved her stuff. But anyway, continue.
a shorter collection of artists and get sidetracked as we often do here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Coulter Wall,
Okay.
John Prine, The Revivalists,
Okay.
Zach Brown Band, Judah and the Lion, Brett Dennen,
Dude.
Lake Street Dive, Sturgill Simpson, Rival Sons. Like these are all people
Holy
that
shit.
have worked with Dave Cobb multiple times.
This guy, yeah, I
He's
gotta
got the
do a
magic
dive on this
touch.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So like when I say
Wow.
like bucket list is like to have a song produced by Dave Cobb, like there's a reason for it.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty incredible, man. I didn't realize that. That's a really interesting
discography.
loaded lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. I mean, just three. If you pick three of those people,
Yeah.
I mean, it's still impressive. And then you got like,
The songwriting and production on all these songs is the musicality behind it. It's great.
it sounds like he works with a lot of people that write their own
Yes.
things too.
Yes,
which is what I like.
He's got a very big live track recording
Yeah.
philosophy
Yeah.
as far as like vocals and
I love that too. I mean, we just started getting into that with the new project that we're recording right now. In terms of like we're kind of eliminating the click on a few of them and just kind of making them performance based and just kind of toying
like
with that
that
idea.
idea.
I like it a lot. And like some songs don't need the click. Like there's a lot of stuff on here that I hear and I'm like, oh, he's just in there, just wailing,
Yeah.
like belting it out and just playing it like he's playing at a bar, you know.
I think when I go in to re-record, like that's gonna be how I prefer to do it.
Yeah, it's a good, and it kind of has that vibe already. What from what you have on the Spotify, I liked it. I mean, I remember we talked about it, and I know that as a musician, when you hear your first stuff, you're always like thinking like I want to go back and
terrible and it
redo
sucks,
it. Yeah, you always want to do it, but it takes a lot of bravery just to get it out there and just
Right.
like tell a story that you might not have wanted to tell.
Oh, for sure.
Like verbally, like in passing, but like you can tell it in your music, and then it's totally fine. You know what I mean? But
Because you can
yeah.
then totally be like, yeah, it's completely fictional and made up.
Yeah, right.
It's like it doesn't matter like how
Yeah.
fictional or autobiographical anything that you write is, because you can just chalk it up to like, oh, it's just a creative outlet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
So what's your favorite? What do you think your favorite song is off of this?
That's a terrible question to ask.
So okay, so let me make it easier. If you could only listen to one on this record, what would it be? If you had to just go with just one for forever, what would it be?
I'm sitting here staring at the back of the album cover
I know.
because I'm like looking
It's
over the
tough,
track
man.
listing. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's such a great album. Like I can probably strike Super 8.
Mm-hmm. I do love that one though.
It's like, okay,
it's
so
it's a really funny song.
one of the notes that I wrote down is it's Jason Isbell's "Give Me 3 Steps."
Yeah.
So that's-
it's very interesting.
That's what I wrote down for that. But
don't want to die in a Super 8 motel.
So like that one, I can like, it's a great song. Don't get me wrong,
But
but it's
Give Me 3 Steps. That's
it-
pretty crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
yeah. So it's it's not my favorite on the album.
Okay.
Man, this is a hard question. I would say probably like narrowing it. Okay, I know a question that's coming up.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave one that I could list
Okay.
for that question.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say this one's either Elephant
Okay.
or Live Oak. Honestly.
Oh, Live Oak, really?
I love
Okay.
the story that Live Oak is.
Remind me of the story of that one again, because
story
that
of-
one's it's not as fresh in my head as the other ones.
So
are.
it takes place in, I would say, like 19th century pre-Civil War time, where this guy comes into town and basically he's trying to run from his old life, but then his life catches up with him, and it's basically a song about like how he's just a criminal and a crook and murderer. And,
Okay, that's kind of ringing a bell. I think I
but
remember
it's
that one.
basically
Yeah.
him trying to start over with this new person that he's found purpose with, and it does not go well.
Yeah. There's so many great stories on this on this album, man. It's hard to pick for me. I would say that I mean my first favorite off of this is, I mean, it's cliche, but it's Cover Me Up. I mean, it's just
What a lead track, though.
It's right. I mean, like, is this the first studio album that he released?
So this is
solo.
This is actually his 4th album overall.
Okay.
It is his 2nd solo effort.
Okay.
The first solo effort was in 2007. This came out in 2013. But this is his first sober album.
Right. And what I read about this, the sobriety aspect of it, which he touches on in Cover Me Up, and I think there's another song where he talks about it too, but Ryan Adams was one of the guys that helped him get to there.
He was actually supposed to produce this album.
Yeah, which is nuts, because like I mean, you can say what you want about Ryan Adams and the
allegations against him.
Yeah. He's still a phenomenal songwriter.
Oh,
and like, it's so crazy to think that these guys had a relationship like that, because they're two powerhouses.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
I'll put Ryan Adams up against anybody that right now. I mean, you can put him in the same breath as Isbell too. I think, I mean, there's other guys that are a little bit more country, but in terms of, like, I don't consider Jason Isbell a country artist. Do you think of him as that? Like, when you hear his name, do you go, because like Tyler Childers and Sturgill and Coulter Wall and those guys, like, you immediately, you're like, oh, they're country.
If you listen more to the 400 unit stuff, mostly because of the instrumentation,
right?
Song content, no.
Yeah.
I would not call lyrical content country music. I would absolutely call the instrumentalism, I guess. The
just the lineup,
musicality
like
of
the
it,
slide and the
and you have Amanda Shires playing fiddle,
dude,
like,
she's incredible.
and like her parts on some of these songs are like, they make the song.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, like I think that's really interesting too, the parallels between Stapleton and Isbell, is that they have their wives
in the
working with them in the bands, and they're both killer harmony finders. I mean, it's like butter, dude. That's the one thing about the studio that I didn't mention that was the most difficult, was harmonizing with myself. I was like, fuck this shit. I hate it so much. I can't get it right. And then we just take little tiny bit. Like Steve does such a good job with, like, all right, we're gonna do this. Just do this one word, and then we're gonna mix it all together. Right. It's like nothing is in one take. So I always ask this because it can be different. It can be the same but different, same but different. Shout out to Matt Weisel. What is your favorite lyric / story? Because there's, to me, like favorite lyric is just like a portion of it, but it could also be your. Oh wow, you got some hella notes over there.
I got hella notes because
hit me.
I listened to this album probably 10 times in the last week.
You did?
Oh, in preparation of this.
I listened to it a couple of times, and then
I listened to it 3 times yesterday alone.
Oh wow!
So
Love
just
it.
going through, like, I have like the lyrics from the liner notes.
Liner
This is the liner notes from the CD.
Okay.
Like with this goofy poster thing, like with the lyrics and all that.
I love it.
And I was just sitting there like reading through the lyrics while I was listening to it. Like, this is the deepest I've ever listened to this album.
Really?
Just for the sole purpose of like just really getting into the gritty of this. Like,
all right,
I'm so into it.
Hit me. What's the lyrics?
So I could go like song by song on this. So like,
Let's
Cover Me Up, like, there's a part in, I think it's like the second verse technically, where it goes, and the old lovers sing, I thought it'd be me who helped him get home, but home was a dream, one that I'd never seen till you came along.
Yep.
And the fact that it's like basically saying like, yeah, these girls try to fix me, but it did no good until until you kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that always hits me, and I always resonate with that with like Jasmine, because I've had situations in the past where like I thought I was in a healthy situation, thought I was home
Right.
per se, and it was just a figment of my imagination.
Yeah.
So it was just something that I thought because it was familiar, or something that was misunderstood or whatever. But those words always like they always get me, where I'm like, fuck, dude, yeah, because
like,
you can tell, you can feel the heartache and the pain
yeah.
and everything, and it's just it's amazing.
He's got the background in creative writing. Like he
does.
Yes. So he went on an academic scholarship.
That makes so much sense now.
To I'm not sure what his alma mater would have been had he graduated, but he.
Somebody's out off the leash again.
Watchdogs.
Yep.
On the alert. So he, has a background in creative writing and, English lit.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's interesting.
He's so very, very selective in the words that he uses, in his phrasing, and it shines through. Like nothing that he writes is by accident.
Yeah, of course.
So everything is very well thought out. So you like even just reading the words on the page, you're like, holy shit! Like that's this is some shit that you'd see on a meme somewhere. Like it's not
it's
lightly written things.
It's impressive. It's impressive. All right, keep rolling. Let's do this.
So going song by song here.
Okay.
So next is Stockholm. There's a line that starts the second verse with, and it says, "Once a wise man to the ways of the world, but I've traded those lessons for faith in a girl." So basically saying, like, everything that I've learned is out the fucking window.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to trust what I have with this chick.
Yeah. Now, it does, we talked about this. I don't know if we had the mics on for this. It has that murdery vibe to it. Like, he's cleaning his gun, and he's like, you're...
oh, no, that's Yvette.
Huh?
You're thinking Yvette.
Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
See, we'll get to that.
You're right.
We'll get to that.
Okay. My bad. Continue. Yeah.
I'm an amateur hour.
I'm so sorry. This is what happens because I don't know everything. Okay, we get it.
Yeah.
So that was what I was mistaking that for. I don't know why I looked. I was like, it's not even on the same side of the fucking album. Okay. So anyway, I'm sorry.
So
I hate to interrupt.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Because that's a dark song.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
It's a real dark song.
Yeah.
So, but with Stockholm, I mean, it's a love song. It was like basically I never meant to fall in love, but I mean, here it is.
Here we are. Yeah.
Stockholm, let me go home. It's
right.
like, talking about Stockholm syndrome in reference to a love song. I think it's hilarious.
That is pretty funny.
Great word choices. Like,
yeah. I love that.
So, Traveling Alone.
Yeah.
What did it? Oh, there's two lines of this song that I absolutely love, and one is I know, like, it's in the intro of the song, but I know every town worth passing through. But what good does knowing do with no one to show it to?
Right.
And I felt that.
Yeah.
Like in playing like some of the shows I played out of town, and like, and just on such a small scale, I can't imagine like being the guys that's on tour for 6-8 months of the year.
Right. On a small scale, it's a very lonely job.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of times where like I go out and there's no one there but the bar staff.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone there. No one likes me there.
For sure.
I'm just running out the clock.
Yeah.
And not in a negative sense of like I don't like the spot. It's just that I'm like, I know these people don't want me here, so it's like, and then, but I love the towns that I go through, and like, there's certain places where like I want to go see on my off days. There's certain places that I'll never go again. Yeah. But it is a thing where like I remember when like Jasmine and I first started dating, I was showing her kind of the ropes of like where we do this, and I was like, hey, by the way, you drink for free here because you're with me.
Right.
She was like, oh, this is weird. I was like, yeah, let me ball out here and just show you how we do it. But it was, like I was trying to show her like little spots. I was like, hey, this is the first place I ever played. This is the house of the musician that I grew up with, and like the garage band. And like I would drive around and show it to her. And I remember hearing that, I was like, oh man, this is good.
And then like it's
Ybor, baby.
Oh yeah,
Ybor
talks about Ybor City, dude.
Tampa.
When I went and saw him in Clearwater.
Uh-huh.
And he got to that line of the song. People went apeshit. He's not talking about Ybor in a positive light, at least.
Right.
Like
he's saying he may have
damn near strangled by my appetite.
Yeah.
Ybor City.
Ybor City on a Friday night.
Yeah, and talking about how he's trying to pick up a hooker, and the hooker's like, "Nah, I'm good.
Not today, honey."
You're too fucked up for me, even.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so he's not talking about Ybor in a nice
see
way.
Me on a better day. Yeah. I recently started doing that song just because it. I just loved it. I just loved it so much. But man, it. That one hit me, I think, harder than Cover Me Up because of I mean, obviously the Ybor stuff. It's like it's too close to home.
For sure.
You're like I've been out there a couple of times where I'm walking around like, what am I doing? Yeah. Didn't try to pick up a hooker, just for the record.
So he says now.
Not that night.
He was there by himself, so there's no real evidence to the contrary or to confirm his story.
We don't have an alibi.
Yeah. But he has since been tested.
Yeah,
Jasmine.
Oh my God! Okay, this is this is the beauty of this is that we don't know where we're going. We just kind of have fun with it.
No,
right.
yeah, we just took a hard left right there.
Okay, so can we skip the next track because I want to dedicate a little bit of time on that one because that's my favorite one. Yeah,
absolutely, for good reason.
Yeah,
for great fucking reason,
dude. Yeah.
So we'll skip the next track.
Yeah.
You'll know what that is here in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But getting to Flying Over Water.
Love that one too.
It's a short one.
It is.
It is. Looking at it on the page, like it is a very short song in comparison to the rest of these.
It's the first track off of here that features the electric on this album, correct?
You might be right on that.
Well, as a
primary
rhythm instrument, yeah.
But the whole album has a pretty acoustic feel to it, which I think is kind of why it resonates with me.
Yeah,
because I kind of stay in that lane.
He's such a talented guitar player, actually.
And
my God, unknown.
Absolutely unbelievable.
People don't understand. I started following him on Instagram recently and seeing his shit where he just like goes over like just little theoretical stuff and like just playing the slide on his Les Pauls, and I was like, whoa, yeah.
His like $200,000 Les Paul. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the original 59 gold top that he's got. Like,
oh yeah.
Anyways,
yeah.
Guitar nerding out.
Flying Over Water.
Yeah, so Flying Over Water. I wrote down that I don't necessarily have a favorite line. It's hard to pick something out of this song because it's such a short tune, but like, I mean, I'm gonna cheat and actually like hold up the lyric sheet here, but like. The power of the lines, like "Daddy's little empire, built by hand and built by slaves," like it's like the word choices. I mean, he goes so much more into detail on things like that.
Yeah.
In future albums, because he talks about White Man's World on which
on,
we're going to do future episodes involving Jason
Isbell. Is that
Isbell.
off of Nashville Sound? Is
that is Nashville Sound?
Yeah.
And then he gets into like what have I done to help?
Yeah, right. What have I done to help?
Yeah. Like he's got so many powerful songs of just really, whether it be autobiographical or whether it be just a story that he's telling, like it is such a socially conscious and socially aware thing. Like.
Yeah, he's very much in touch with some of this stuff.
Social issues.
Yeah, and I like that about him, and I also like the fact that he was adamant on the John Prine issue that happened a few months ago.
Yeah, how they completely snubbed him.
That was fucked. That was fucked. And there was other guys who I'm gonna forget and butcher their names and fucking forget about it. But there was other guys in the big time guys in the Nashville scene that were neglected as well. They were totally left out. So the fact that he was, that he did that, because John Prine took a lot of the young guys underneath his wing.
Sure.
I mean, like Nathaniel Rateliff, Jason Isbell, Sturgill.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm probably going to leave somebody out, but just the fact that he had a relationship with the best songwriters today.
Because they knew him as, like, Prine is the guy who I want to be, like, kind of thing. The guy I want to, not necessarily emulate, but, like.
Yeah, John Prine's not hanging out with fucking Florida Georgia Line, okay? He's not hanging out with Darius Rucker.
Florida Georgia Line.
He may have at one point, but
probably aren't hanging out with Florida Georgia Line.
Hey guys, I got a new song coming out. You want to hear? Nope, I'm okay. I'm good. This just turned into a pop country bashing episode, but that's what happens when you put up Jason Isbell against the rest of the world. I mean, it's just it's impossible. I've met people, and like kept in touch with people on social media because of him, because of my newfound love for
Right.
his stuff. And like, you don't know how much this music means to people, because it's like,
Oh,
fuck,
absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's pretty insane to think about too, with the whole the fact that he was in like a not well-known band, but like a band that was
Relentlessly touring,
yeah,
like,
touring into the
built a cult
ground.
following,
I mean,
yeah.
So the fact that he came from something like that and then was like, I got to get my shit straight, and then
No, basically, Patterson and Mike were like, "Hey, you need to get your shit straight.
yeah,
You're done here."
yeah,
Like they made
Yeah.
it seem more amicable than that.
creative differences.
Yes,
yeah,
but it
whatever
was
yeah,
hey, like
Yeah.
you're
a wild
fucking
man.
this up for us.
yeah.
Like kind of thing.
Yeah. So this was Southeastern was his recognition of the past
For sure.
fucking around. So yeah, I it's weird how that stuff happens, man, because I mean, I think if you have something going on like that in a band, in somebody that you have to kind of push in the right direction, it's never gonna you're never gonna get it the first time. You're never gonna get. I mean, because you can't help somebody that doesn't want to help themselves, and I feel like it's so prevalent in the music scene. I mean, a lot of the times, and you don't really realize it because they're acting, they're on
Right.
stage, you're embodying a character that you think these people are into,
And a lot of times, these people that come out like, "Oh, well, I went and did this, and I'm better now, and I'm clean." It's like, well, yeah, but you didn't do it on your own accord,
right? Yeah,
What you don't,
Yeah.
what you don't talk about is the arrest that led to that,
Right.
Or the fact that you were sentenced to that.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, but like,
Yeah.
this was, to my knowledge,
Is that what happened to him?
To my knowledge, this is just friends rallying and going, "You're better than this.
Yeah.
We're taking you to rehab
Yeah.
because you're the shit,
Yeah,
and we don't want you fucking ruining that."
yeah.
Like,
And he used to be huge too.
yeah, he was a big boy.
Yeah,
was-
he's in great shape.
You see
now.
his
I mean,
face, and
my
it
God,
looks a lot like
yeah.
yours.
Yeah, it does. It's like, holy shit, holy chins, Batman. Yeah, yeah.
I said it with love.
I
do.
know.
do.
If you can't bust balls like this on this podcast, then what are we fucking doing it for? You know what I mean? But yeah, he was a big boy, and I remember seeing like old photos of him, and then like, I mean, not drinking will.
But you can see in some of the like older videos on YouTube, he has that like rosy flush, like on his 5th day of a 9-day bender kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it is not looking good. Got the alcohol sweats,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
which a couple days of drinking too hard,
Oh,
like
yeah.
you sweat at the drop of a
Oh yeah.
degree. It's like,
Yep.
oh.
Yep.
So he was not looking too great in those videos, but then
Yeah. So, yeah.
ever since then.
Is he? So is he? Do you think he's your favorite songwriter right now?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's up there for me. It's hard to do it because a lot of the guys that I listen to also that are my favorite songwriters, kind of apples and oranges kind of situation where I would put him in this category. He's, I mean, just the best.
Head and shoulders.
Yeah. Oh my God. So okay, so we just hit Flying Over Water.
Yes.
Different Days is another one that I think kind of slips past some people.
I think it does too.
I really like that song though.
Yes.
I like the approach on the guitar where it's not like a major chord kind of thing. It's kind of like a fast car kind of deal where he's like kind of up and down on those.
So the
octaves.
funny thing is I have a song that I've written that follows almost the exact same progression he uses in this song.
It's a great progression. It's awesome.
I don't know if consciously or unconsciously, I came up with it and then went, oh man, this sounds a lot like Different Days.
Yeah.
Or if listening to this song, like I ended up playing it back going, man, why does this sound so good? And then I listened, like I was playing guitar one day and then I had this album on and I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That's where this came from.
I did that exact same thing with Speed Trap Town.
Yeah.
I wrote a song about driving around. Like I wrote a song about like the early days when Jasmine and I were dating but not living together. I was talking about the times that we would spend in the car. That was like our bonding time because we would like share music with each other and stories about our day, and that was like the biggest part of our dating life because we didn't go home and stay the night with each other. And I remember writing that song right after I watched the Tiny Desk show that he did.
Yeah.
And he didn't play Speed Trap Town on there. But
No.
I wrote it and I wrote the lyrics, wrote the song the next day, and then like 3-4 weeks later, I go and re-listen to Speed Draft, and I was like, motherfucker. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, damn it, I thought I had something here, but it was subconsciously, it was just in my head when I was doing that. So writing the melody, it's a step and a half down from what it typically is, but it's right there. I mean, it's like the same exact thing. So I'm like, fuck, I got to throw this out and rewrite it now. Damn it.
Yeah. So again, same kind of story, which that's on Something More Than Free, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Not on this podcast.
That's
but.
probably not on this one. No, we'll be here all day if we go.
Dude, I could sit for 12 hours just going album by album.
Oh yeah,
and just picking through each and every one.
Amanda, I like doing this and learning about stuff that I would not, think to talk about in an album like this. Like the whole Dave Cobb thing. I was like, I see his name every time I put the album out, and I'm like, would have never known.
Exactly, but like. I had a thought and I completely lost where I was going.
That's okay.
Oh, Amanda was giving me so much shit because I was like putting so much effort into like having talking points.
Yeah.
When we were doing the podcast, and she's
well,
like,
this is good because
she's like, you're such a fucking loser. I'm like, but babe, this is like my favorite album, like one of my favorite albums, and like finally get to just like sit down and talk to somebody about it.
Yeah,
and she's like, "You're such a loser." I'm like, "You just don't understand."
Well, you being a loser makes up for my incompetence of being a host and not knowing everything about this. But that's the fun of it.
That's what the point of the guest is, for us to do the footwork and the research, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't do anything. I just kind of. That's okay.
I feel like it's almost kind of shitty to like come and talk about like all this shit and like. Yeah, it's like third party shit. Like I would love to like sit down and just be like, so Jason.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
This is what I read online.
Yeah.
Fact or not? Fact or not? Like, just
it's
because I hate speaking on people's behalves, especially when it comes to their music, because music is such a personal thing.
It is, but it also it's art, so it's also not a ones and zeros kind of thing. You can make it up, and you can kind of navigate your whatever resonates with you on your life experiences. Like there's certain things in, like, when I hear Cover Me Up, I think of the quarantine,
right?
We ain't leaving this room until someone needs medical help, or Magnolias, but because you can't.
that is such a fucking great line too.
Yeah, it really is. And then you read it and you're like, oh, it's pretty, and he's like, oh no, he's talking about fucking.
Yeah.
He's getting in there. Yeah. But it is such a great way to start an album, man. I mean, it's just immediately. It's not anything like, it doesn't build up to anything. It doesn't. It's not something that's like, like an orchestral kind of build up to where you're like hanging on the edge of your seat. But it's just immediately. It's the perfect. It's the perfect start to kind of encapsulate what you're about to listen to.
Yeah, and getting back into different days, that's kind of where we were at. Like some of the lines are just so like like the fact that he goes out of his way to work the word benzodiazepine into a line of what could be argued as a country song. Yeah. You can strip in Portland from the day you turn 16. You got one thing to sell in benzodiazepine. Yeah. Like, who the fuck else is going to put... Like, I heard it. I mean, you can't put the trade name of the drug in there, so you go with, like, the generic name. Yeah. I heard that... I heard not benzodiazepine, but benzo in a song by Matthew Mayfield, where he says benzo, hydro, and Julio, my routine maintenance kit. It's just like, oh... Fuck yeah. So, but yeah, it's when you hear stuff that's different in this, I think that's what makes guys like this and songwriters like this so great, because there's so many people that just sing the same fucking song, dude, and it's the same. And I catch myself doing it where I'm like, damn it. There's a song I think it was David Allan Coe. Where it goes into this digression where it's talking about like having written the perfect country song, and it's like, oh, but I don't talk about trucks. I don't talk about drinking. I don't talk about prison. And I'll talk like, and then he goes into a verse where he just throws all that into like one ridiculous verse. And then it's like, I was drunk the day I picked my mom up from prison. Or some shit like that. I don't even know how it goes exactly, but like, it's just the most ridiculous. And then he goes, well, now it's the perfect country song because it's got all that in it. Yeah, it's perfect. But yeah, so like, I love the fact that he doesn't he doesn't shying away from the cliches of the genre.
Yeah, he's very in tune with writing a unique song, which is why
unique but still incredibly relatable.
Right, yeah. And I say this all the time. I'm like, I really hope that he can keep the heat up with this.
Oh, for sure.
Because you see guys like this that are so fucking good at what they do. I always think like, oh man.
Yeah.
You know, like what happens when it turns sour? What happens when he runs out? What happens when he's so happy now that
he's just gonna go super weird like Tom Waits.
Oh my god.
Like,
yeah. Oh
he's
shit.
Gonna get super weird writing songs like Singapore.
Oh. God. I hope not. All right. So, what's your favorite deep cut on here? Like something that you would say that is probably out of the Isbell wheelhouse of this album.
Honestly, I don't think it's that far out of his wheelhouse, but the tune that he closes the album with, relatively easy, because like you listen to it and it's just like, all right, you know, it's a gorgeous song, super easy listening song, but it's basically just talking about like the perspective of the shit that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, we've got it relatively easy.
Yeah.
Like, think about all this shit
versus
that's going
on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I lost a good friend. Wintertime when folks go out, or Christmas time folks go off the deep end. His woman took his kids and he took Klonopin. Enough to kill a man of twice his size.
Jeez.
It's not for me to understand.
Yeah.
Remember him when he was still a proud man. A vandal smile, baseball in his right hand. Nothing but the blue sky in his eyes, or something like that. Like that's the verse.
God. Yeah.
Like that is such a powerfully written verse.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Contending with a friend's suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, whether that's a true story or not, like the fact that he pulled that out of his ass.
It's pretty wild to think of all the stories that he has that are about these tragic incidents. Yeah. And you almost hope that they're not all his stories.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's like, oh man, you know.
But he speaks to the universality of these topics.
Of it doesn't have to specifically match verbatim your situation, but you can be like, oh, that reminds me of this guy.
That's the power in the songwriting, though. It's just unbelievably
100%.
vague enough to be, that's my story,
yep,
but still specific enough to go, I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Like, he paints an amazing picture.
It's pretty great.
So relatively easy is definitely on that list, because it's like, you know what? Yeah. You having a bad day? Well, guess what? Shit could be worse.
Yeah, it could be.
So, buck up, Buttercup.
Yeah, it could be. You're eating 3 meals a day, man. It could be way worse.
For sure.
Okay, so you saw him live, and you have a good story that I want you to tell about meeting him, because it's pretty impressive.
So, I mean, I don't know if I go as far as impressive as it is pathetic, but
I just think it's a really cool moment where how it happened.
So, I am a live music fanboy. So if I go see an artist that I really respect, I am one of the people that will go wait out back of a venue and see if they'll come shake hands, take pictures after a show.
Right.
It's anybody who's gone to a show with me knows that's just the case. Like, that's what you expect to do after the show.
Of course.
But that's just, I've done that for the longest time. Going back to when I was a teenager, going to see like Real Big Fish and Say Anything and going to see shows like that and like waiting out back and talk to Max Bemis, because I was like, oh man, I would relate to you so much as a 16-year-old kid. Sometimes I feel sad too.
Yeah.
But anyways, so being that I had worked shows at Ruth Ecker before, I kind of knew some of the security people there. And, you know, went and stood by the gate, kind of used that as like I'm going to stand here and wait to see if he comes out kind of thing, just having bullshit conversations with some of the security people who I'd previously worked shows with and just had conversations with. Weren't necessarily friends, but acquaintances enough to where I'd be like, oh, hey, I remember you kind of thing.
Right.
But then, you know, people started lining up kind of see if he was going to come out. And then I had a guitar with me because I wanted to have him sign my guitar, because it's become a thing that I've had some of my favorite songwriters.
Yeah, you have a lot on there too. Yeah,
it's up to 4 now, so it's not that many.
Well,
People are like, you have people sign your Martin? Like, yeah, I'm never gonna sell it, so like, I'm not holding on to this guitar because of its resale value.
Yeah,
like, I will play this guitar until it no longer
You do you,
is
man.
intact.
Yeah, you do you.
So, people want to talk shit for it. It's like, I don't care.
Whatever. Yeah.
So
everybody's always got some shit to say.
Oh, exactly.
So,
So anyways, it's a guitar that I've had a few other people sign, and it's one of those things that it's like, it's for me. It's not for anybody else.
Yeah.
So I had, him sign it, but backtracking a little bit. So I had the guitar with me. So I pull out the guitar and I'm just bullshitting, kind of just waiting. So it's out. So I'm not sitting there like fumbling with it, trying to get it out of the case to have him sign it. So in doing that, I just ended up starting.
Does anybody have a pick?
Yeah. I ended up playing some stuff, being the campfire douchebag, if you will. So that's of course when I went into like shameless self-promotion mode. Like,
dude.
Hey, totally just finished recording this EP. If you guys follow me on social media, you'll be able to see when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the process of getting mastered right now. So I didn't say it like that, but I feel like it
sounded like that in your head.
Yeah, it sounded like that. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like I feel like I should have had the Guy Fieri sunglasses on while I was saying all this. So, so I'm sitting there playing, played through a couple of my songs, and people are, not exactly a captive audience, but people are paying attention.
Yeah, of course.
So I started going into songs that I knew how to play from Jason that he hadn't played at the show.
Okay.
And one of the songs that he hadn't played, which we'll get into talking about here very soon, is Elephant.
Oh, God.
So
I fucking love that
So
song.
I played that song, and I handed off my guitar because there was another guy that wanted to hear/play Alabama Pines.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, all right, I don't know how to play. Like, I'll trust you.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of had like a...
You do okay?
Yeah. Oh, he killed it.
He
like,
did?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right. That's good.
I want to say he's Australian,
Mm.
a New Zealander, maybe.
Wow.
Like, he was definitely like that side of the pond as far as like personality wise. So obviously you have to trust anybody with an accent. Like,
Yeah, right.
If it's a nice accent, like you don't necessarily have to trust somebody who come talk to you like this.
I was gonna say I don't trust
necessarily have to trust him.
Yeah.
You give me your password, I fix it for you. So
I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
$20. $20 to make it nice. So this guy starts playing Alabama Pines, whatever. He finishes that, and then I take the guitar back. I start playing Elephant.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I get to the second verse, people are going ape shit around me, and I'm like, I mean, it's a great song, yeah, whatever. If I turn around and Jason's standing right there, and I'm like,
oh shit.
Okay, so like I'm like stopped dead in my tracks playing the song this guy has written, like as he's standing there. But like it was a weird thing because like I was standing like the way everybody was standing, like it took like one person like actually turning around to see him standing there, for everybody to realize that he was there because I was playing music. So basically entertaining the people waiting to meet Jason Isbell.
Oh my god!
And so like I'm freaking. I was like, oh shit. So like
that's wild. Did he say anything about you playing the song?
We're getting there.
Okay, sorry.
We're getting there, Joshua.
I'm just so excited.
No, it's an exciting story. I'm excited to tell the story. So
I'm so excited.
I kind of like in situations like that, I kind of hang out towards the back, and like because there are some people you can kind of tell are gonna hang out for a minute, and like kind of talk to everybody, and there's some that are like, oh, I'm gonna come out and sign this shit and then take off.
Right.
So he was like sticking around for a minute. So I got that kind of vibe. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna hang back so I can actually like talk to him for a minute. And so he got through signing a bunch of people's stuff, and like people just kept coming. So I was like, all right, I'll sneak in here eventually. So I like get up to him, and he kind of like looks over the guitar. He goes, "It's a nice piece, man. I like that. I like that a lot." And I was like, thanks, man.
Thank you.
I'm a total fanboy, by the way, when it comes to like meeting, not with like just celebrities in general, but people that I really respect.
Yeah,
I fanboy.
Oh, dude, there's local people that I'm like, I don't want to.
Oh no shit.
I don't want to. Yeah, because like I don't want to ruin that relationship,
right?
You know, and be like, so I try to play it cool. Like I'm pretty good about it, but like on the inside, I am losing my shit.
Right.
Losing it. That's pretty much the story of my life. Like on the outside, I may look like I'm keeping it together, but on the inside, there is a war going on. So like, say how much you love him. Say it. Shake his hand again, dude. Yeah. Like, ask him to sign something. Like,
absolutely.
No. And then my head's just like, oh, I'm sorry, I have to go now.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to ruin it.
So, anyways, I walk up to him and he's like looking over the guitar or whatever. I was like, would you mind signing the guitar? He's like, yeah, absolutely, no problem. I was like, yeah, I mean, I just recently finished recording the first EP. I was super excited about it. Like, You know, Southeastern was a huge influence, like towards like songwriting style, kind of feel,
That's awesome.
like acoustic style.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh man, that's great." I was like, "Yeah, I actually have a copy of it right here. It's
Oh, no.
it hasn't even been pressed yet. Like this is just the masters. They just sent this to me yesterday." And I handed it to him. I was like, "I don't care if you get on the tour bus and throw this in the fucking trash can.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm handing you
Yeah.
music that I wrote
Right.
and recorded
Right.
and like cite you as a major influence on is
Yeah.
a huge deal for me." He just kind of laughed. He's like, it's really not that big of a deal. I'm just a dude." And
Yeah.
I was like,
Wow.
all right, cool. So I handed it to him, and I was like, "Yeah, man, can I get a picture real quick?" Took a picture with him, and then I fucked off because I'm not gonna outstay my welcome.
I probably have had like a holy shit, I'm meeting this person moment, like maybe once or twice, but the rest I just really try to just like, all right, I got to get out of this and not embarrass myself. Right. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to say anything weird, be like, "I love you," you know, and like, be like, "God, why'd you say that?" You know, like I hate it. And the other thing too is like, I'm afraid to meet some people because I don't want to find out that you're a fucking asshole. You know, like there's been people in the local scene that I met. I was like, "Oh,
Yes.
right, you're a dick."
That's
to
a real thing.
everybody. Yeah,
And it's one of those things where I will give somebody the benefit of the doubt the first time.
Same.
So it's like, okay, maybe you're having a bad day. Maybe you just got some bad news kind of thing.
Yeah, because you don't know. Because like with us, like I mean, I've told people to fuck off before that are like, you
But
know,
if
just trying to.
If you're a dick to me the second time,
Yeah.
you're just a dick.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt
once. Yeah, you get one chance.
But then
yeah.
once you're a dick after that, you're just a dick.
Yeah, I do feel bad for those guys though, that they're like they meet people all day long.
Yeah.
They're like in the bus all day. They're by themselves, away from their family. They're
Right.
you know, they're stressed out, and then like the 10 seconds you get in like a meet and greet is like the thing that you carry with you
Right.
for your life. You're like, "Oh, this guy's an asshole." And you
Right.
narrow it down to like a 10-second thing, and it sucks. But I mean, that's
But
just
then you
that's
hear
how it is. And then
so many stories
Yeah.
of people who have worked with them and so many
Yeah.
stories of people who
Oh, yeah.
like know them, and it's like, no,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
just how they are. And
Yeah,
you go, oh, well,
it's-
that makes perfect fucking sense.
right.
then.
Yeah.
Like your story that you told me about who you met with your dad.
Which guy? Oh, Aaron Lewis?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a
I wasn't sure if you
piece-
wanted to drop his name in there.
What
but
a piece of shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a piece of shit. He's not. He's just a very,
abrasive guy.
very, very abrasive dude. I mean, it's like we brought him the old CD that we each have a copy of. And we brought it, and he just goes, "Did you get the new one yet?" And we're like, "What?" Not like, "Hey, thanks," you know?
Yeah.
"Thanks for paying extra money to come do this." He's like, "Did you get the new CD yet?" We're like, "No, it's on the way, man." And then like, we saw him, and he was just giving it to the hecklers all night. Because I mean, here you're becoming a country party artist, and then you want people to shut the fuck up at shows. You can't have it both ways,
Yeah.
dude. Like it's not how it's gonna work. And like,
Here,
he
let
was
me
so
pander
mad.
to the redneck crowd.
Yeah.
And then get upset when they get redneck.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Believe me, I grew up in a little bit of it. I see it.
I grew up with a bunch of rednecks.
So
That's
yeah.
where my background lies.
Yeah, when you put them in a theater, man, it's
Yeah, well, they don't go to fucking theaters. That's the thing.
they do for Aaron Lewis.
Oh Jesus!
and then they ruin the fucking show.
They're on the lawn at the amphitheater if they make it that far.
Dude, I saw him play. I saw Aaron Lewis play a second time at it was the Tampa Theater, and fight broke out. They tried to kick me out because somebody identified me as the person that did it, and I was like, "No, dude, I'm just trying to watch the fucking show." He was on stage for like 2.5 hours. He might have played 10 or 11 songs. He was talking about nothing, and I was like, "This is gonna be the best because he's gonna tell stories behind these songs."
Right.
I'm finally seeing him solo because I'd only seen him with a band. I saw him with Stained a couple of times, and then I saw him with his country band, and then he just went on these long tangents that made no sense, and he was double juuling. He was smoking 2 joules at the same time. I was like, "Dude, what are you? what? I don't understand."
Well,
so
they don't mix these flavors together in the factory, so I got to do it myself.
that's exactly what he said. That's
Are you
exactly
serious?
what he said. He was like, "Yeah, it was mint and mint and mango or something like
my
that.
God.
And he was like,
believe I
yeah,
nailed
he's like,
it.
they don't mix them, so I got to do them at the same. Yeah, I swear to God, that was almost exactly what he said.
God.
Yeah, I'm like, why are you? Yeah,
That's
he's like,
awesome.
I don't like mint and I don't like just mango, so I do mint mango at the same time. I was like, who made you? What is the problem?
He's a Chicago native, right? Or like Illinois?
I don't know. He's from like I think he's a Midwest guy.
Okay.
I think
Because
you're
I know
right on
like
that.
Stain kind of came up through Jacksonville.
Yeah. I can't.
That's where they got bigger.
I can't remember where he's. What are you doing?
She's monkeying.
Yeah, she is.
She's about to jump across the way to you.
Stop. She's a goof. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Elephant.
Okay.
Because I love this song, and the first time
we still got a few songs to go through.
Oh yeah. Okay, all right. Let's finish that one. The live oak we did. So songs that she sang in the shower.
Songs she sang in the shower. Man, we're tangenting all over the place here.
That's fine.
I love it.
That's fine. We'll cut it up into 2 parts like we always do.
Oh yeah. Here's the life story, and then here's the album story. So, song that she sang in the shower, I think, is a great "I fucked up" song.
Yeah.
So, we've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
I've written a song that wasn't necessarily "I fucked up," but it's a "Hey, this is fucked up."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like just some of the picture that he paints in the first verse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on a lark, on a whim. I said, "There's 2 kinds of men in this world, and you're neither of them." And then, as his fist cut the smoke, I had an 1/8 of a second to wonder if he got the joke. And it's like, damn, like,
Yeah.
you're at a bar talking shit, and a dude swings on you.
Yeah.
Of all the ways that you can say that,
Yeah. Right.
he had the
Painted-
most articulate
Painted it perfectly.
dive bar,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
smoky room picture that he painted with that like one little half verse.
Yeah.
And then, in the car headed home, she asked if I'd considered the prospect of living alone. And then, of course, once you get home, I mean, this is digressing from the actual lyrics of the song, but like, with a stake held in my eye, I had to summon the confidence needed to hear her goodbye. So basically, he got punched in the face, goes home, throws a stake on it, because, it's the old school way of dealing with a shiner.
Yeah.
And basically, all this is her saying, you done fucked up for the last time.
Yeah.
Like, can't be starting bar fights over some dumb shit. Bye.
Yep, you can't. Sorry, that was just.
That seems like a little bit of.
I was Krasinskiing to the camera. Yeah,
Krasinski.
Yeah. The person that knows it will hear it. So that's all.
Okay.
That's all that matters. But yeah, yes,
Fair
you
enough.
can't be doing that. It's such a having that as like a problem that you consistently run into with like a friend is like it's so exhausting.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to hang out with you, man.
Yeah.
If this shit happens every time, I just want to go and have a fucking beer and relax.
Yeah.
But like that is, it's
The most articulate way I've ever heard about somebody getting into a bar.
right. Yeah, it's perfect. The totally paints the picture of a dive bar argument that's just, I mean,
progressive.
You should never tell jokes. You should never tell jokes in a bar where people are drinking.
Exactly.
Especially with me, like I tell dry jokes.
Yes.
And like people are like, is he
joking or is he just a dick?
Yeah, right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personality type. Yeah.
And it's like people are like looking around the table like, I don't know about him. Is he? It's like I'll throw a little teaser tester jokes in there to see if you're cool, and then we'll go from there. But most of the time it doesn't get that far. They're like, yeah, we're gonna go talk to these people over here. It's like, see ya. All right, good.
Bye. Cool.
Perfect. Just the way I planned.
Oh, but another point that I wanted to make about Isbell with songs she sang in the shower is the lesson I took from him is that your hooks don't have to repeat. Because it changes every single time. The structure's the same, but the words that he sings are different every hook.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because it basically takes away from you got to have the repeating chorus.
Yeah. Right. The hooks to your face don't have to repeat, too. You can take one of those and then you'll learn. I've never been punched. Have you been punched in the face before?
I have been punched in the face before. I've been kicked in the head before.
You did?
I used to train at MMA, yeah. So,
oh, my God. Okay, so
I've been punched and kicked and elbowed and all kinds of fun stuff.
I have not been. I just recently got into doing like some light training.
It gets cold. My shoulder just starts to hurt, so. Yeah.
Anytime below 60, you're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Not again. Yeah, I've never been hit before. I'm surprised because I say some pretty mean shit to people that bother me at bars. like, shut the fuck up. You having a good time? Shut the fuck up. That guy.
But see, the difference is,
He wouldn't be able to hit me though. He'd just fall over himself.
Well,
Don't fall on their way back.
yeah. My thing is, okay, so me being 5'7", and you being 6'2", 6'3",
Yeah. Ish. Yeah.
people are way less likely to fuck with you. But the guy that's 5'7", they've got
Yeah.
no problem trying to swing on.
I will say this though. My dad. So my dad is 6'7", 6'8". He's a big guy.
Oh yeah,
So
he stood head and shoulders because. Side note, I don't even know if I told you this. When I first met you, to me, you were Coach Plummer's son.
Oh wait, so did you go?
I went to Tarpon.
You
when
did?
He was teaching there.
Oh
yes.
shit!
So like,
I didn't know that.
I saw you and I was like, that is definitely Plummer's son. Like
Yeah,
they look so much alike. It's ridiculous.
Carbon copy, man.
Yeah. So like, I knew you as.
That's funny. I didn't know that. I saw you comment on something when I think it was like a birthday post that I gave to my dad, and you were like, "Happy birthday, Coach Plummer." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
he must know that he's a coach just by the thing." And
No,
I
like,
didn't
I went to
register with
Tarpon,
me.
yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
So you graduated in
2010.
10. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I was 11, so that makes sense. Yeah, he coached there for a little bit too, and he was it was a rough squad, but they eventually won a couple of games. But yeah, now he's coaching Eastlake, and those
blind hog fights in the corner every now and again.
That's right.
My grandpa used to say.
Yeah, that's really funny, man. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
I did not realize that. Okay, so songs she sang in the shower. That's a bar fight song. I love that. I love that.
Bar fight breakup
Yeah.
song. Like, hey, you got into a fight, so fuck you. Like,
Yeah. What about so New South Wales? That's the next track. What do you love about that one?
New South Wales.
That's one that I probably. That's one
Take
of
it
the
or
ones
leave it
that's
kind of songs.
No, not take it or leave it necessarily. Just one that I just don't really remember that it's on this. Just because
Right.
I don't know because
It's one of those songs where I hear that. Like, I honestly I had to look down to see what the first lyrics were because I was like, wait, because it's one of those songs that the title has nothing to do with the song.
Right. That's what I love about
It's
songs where you
it's
gotta
a great
figure it out for
song
yourself.
about it's a great song about being on the road.
Yeah,
It's really what it is.
Okay.
Here we sit across the table from each other, 1,000 miles from both our mothers, barely old enough to rust. Like, that's a great line.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're young and you're on the road, you're working as a musician or whatever.
Yeah.
Here we sit, pretending both our hearts are anchored, taking candy from these strangers amidst the diesel and the dust.
I love that.
Yeah, it's
Beautiful.
yeah,
It's
like
beautiful.
just there's not a line in this
Man.
song that's not supremely thought out.
Yeah.
He just makes it seem so easy because it's
Yeah,
every
it's-
fucking song.
Yeah, I know. I know. That's what blows me away with this is
Yeah.
just because every time I mean he has how many studio albums? Probably
I think 8 at this point.
8. Okay. Well, with Drive By Truckers too.
Well, no, it's more than 8 with Drive By Truckers
Yeah.
because he was on Decoration Day.
Right.
And
So solo he's put out 8
I
and with the 400 unit.
I think so.
So every time I hear a new song by him, there's a word in there, there's a story in there, there's a setting in there that's different, which is why I love it so much. Like he
doesn't use a lot of repeating themes.
No, it's very different. I mean, love is obviously a repeating theme and
Right.
drinking and things like that, but
I'm saying vocabulary wise.
right,
it's
yeah,
not
that's
very
no, it's
repetitive.
not. It's very unique, very unique
For
so.
sure. I'd love to see a study on that because I've seen there are a few, like, I'm on Reddit all the time. Just
Yeah.
I'm a Reddit voyeur
Yeah.
when I say that. Like, I don't ever
Okay.
post anything on there,
Yeah,
but
you
I'm
just
always like
look at-
looking
yeah.
through posts and stuff.
Right.
So like one of the things they did was like it was actually a hip hop
Yeah.
infographic
Yes.
talking about
I saw that.
like it was a curve of
Of
like
what words
unique
they use.
vocabularies
Yeah.
of artists,
Mhm.
and like pretty much everybody from like the late 80s to the mid 90s is on like this side of the curve where like
Right.
they have like 30,000 words
Yeah.
like across their discography versus like newer artists that have like the same amount of music released,
Yeah.
and it's like 300 words.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous the
Yeah.
spread.
Yeah.
Like
I was hip hop's another thing for me because like I loved it. I loved it growing up. I love
Right.
it now. I love the good stuff, but that I can always tell when somebody's trying to,
and when it's out there for $1 and not
yeah,
for,
right. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you can tell in hip hop. I think more than any other kind of business, maybe country music too, but you can kind of tell from the get where you're like, all right, I know where this is fucking going.
Yeah.
Like I know what you're trying to do. I know like this is
So here's
makes it difficult to connect with.
another digression here. I don't understand. Like, do people buy, like, because in my going through like the list and everything, like, you look at like the top selling albums and the top selling stuff on charts and stuff, and there's not really much on there by way of anything but like new country. And like top 40 pop.
That's what's dominating. Those are the demographic that listens to that are the people that are buying music, and those are the only people that are buying it. So that's why it's so dominant.
It's so strange because you look at like rock and stuff, and like all that's coming through streams.
Yeah,
and a lot of like the jukebox hip hop, as I would call it, is all through streams and stuff. Like they don't even touch like the top 100. On like selling on iTunes, so it's like, how do they make money?
I don't get it. I mean, I have stuff on Spotify, and so do you. I've seen $28 from it.
I'm somewhere right around the same,
in a year. Yeah, so like I don't really know. I mean, like it's not. You don't really do it for the money.
Oh no,
but
for sure.
I mean, that's one of the things that like I knew going into this venture, where I was like, I'm going to spend a lot more than I'm going to make on this. And this whole idea too with the podcast is like, I'm not trying to do this to make money. I'm trying to do it to produce a little bit more content, find out about the local scene, like get a finger on the pulse of like these people that I've not really ever had a chance to sit down and talk with.
For sure.
And also do a dive and learn a little bit about music. I mean, like I've already, 4 new fun facts about you, about the album, about music that I never knew before. So these are great stories to have in your back pocket. So,
for sure.
But yeah, it's just music is one of those things where it's hard to like actually.
It's definitely subjective.
For
sure.
That, and it's just there's no real formula to how these people make money, and the people that know the formula are the ones where the money is coming from.
Yeah.
That's the whole Dave Chappelle thing. It was Iceberg's money in the first place, the whole thing, where it's you're getting paid money from the people that already have it, and it doesn't matter. It's just I don't know. I don't see it ever making any sense anytime soon, especially now with the streaming stuff, like how they get it.
Right.
Like I don't understand radio ratings. How do they do that? How do they get TV ratings? How does that happen? I don't get it.
I don't understand it at all. Like I have friends that work for Nielsen.
Me
they
too.
They don't understand where they come from. It's like
what they tell me. What I've heard from people is they say this. They say I could explain it to you, but it would bore the shit out of you. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me.
Yeah,
I'm
asking you because I want to know. Yeah,
it's like So, it's a mess. I don't know. We live in such a cool time right now to be able to find whatever music that you want.
Oh, for sure.
But it also like it makes it difficult to monetize it. So it's I don't know.
And at that rate, you're relying on live shows, you're relying on merchandise.
Oh yeah.
And then you take that away completely. It's like, oh great.
Fuck yeah. It's I remember that moment where I got the message on, it was either the day before St. Patrick's Day or on St. Patrick's Day, where it was like, all right, bars and restaurants are closed for 30 days, and I was like, I looked at Jazz and I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do, dude. I had my best month planned out in March. I had 28
right there with you.
28 out of 31 days booked in March, and I was like, this is gonna be the fucking shit.
Yeah,
I had travel lined up. I was going down to promote my album in South Florida. I was gonna do a showcase down there. I was gonna play a bunch of shows. Everything just boom.
Yeah,
done.
I had like the month booked out for March and April pretty as well set.
Same.
And I had an entire week scheduled to play in Key West. Yeah, I had I guess you could call it a residency, whatever. But I was set to play the Green Room on Duval.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that actually. I think you and I talked about that, and there's a guy that I know who is he's down there right now. He's living down there as we are recording this. And I've heard a lot of really good things about
Justin.
No.
Okay.
I've heard a lot of good things about music in Key West.
Yeah, I mean Key West seems cool. Like I follow a lot of the guys down there just to hear what they're doing, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's one dude, Chris Toller, who's absolutely unbelievable. Like the guy's a monster. He's a looper.
Oh yeah,
but like he does it in a very original way.
Yeah,
but like the way he does it is very well done. He does a lot of hip hop stuff.
Right.
But with like looping guitar.
I like the different stuff.
Yeah. Check out Chris Toller. I mean, well,
Chris Toller. The Chris Toller.
I'll give you more information after the podcast.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Yeah, I always need new local people to find. Okay, so what are we on now? So we just did New South Wales.
Yeah.
So Super 8. I like Super 8 because it's, like you said, it's the give me 3 steps.
Yeah,
I don't want to die in a Super 8 motel just because somebody's evening didn't go so well. Like, it's just.
But just like the way he, again, like it's telling the story, painting the picture of like this night that he had, the shitty night he had in a hotel room, and how they just fucking destroyed the place.
Yeah.
And basically like.
They were gonna die.
The shit's so bad that like I'd rather sleep in a fucking jail than Super 8 motel.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I wonder if Super 8 got pissed off at him for writing that song.
They're like, hey man, we don't need any more negative.
No, they're
press.
probably like, no, like any press is good press. Cause, maybe this will take away the attention from the actual murders that have happened.
Yeah,
in
right.
Places.
The real murders.
Yeah. But like,
that's a fun one though. I like Super 8.
Yeah, but again with the picture painting, it's Anyways, but yes, it's very Leonard Skinner feel.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But that's just me. And of course, you have I don't know. I guess it could be considered a deep cut. The very powerfully written, again, short song, just like Flying Over Water. But Yvette. Yeah. Like it's a song about girl being sexually abused by her father.
Yeah, this is the one I said that I mixed up with Stockholm stupidly. That I thought this is a very murdery, got a very murdery vibe.
It kind of is a very murdery vibe.
I love it, and I guess I didn't catch that the first time that I was listening, or the first few times I listened to it, because I kind of was like,
like
by the time I get to this point in the album, I'm like, okay. But that, when he's talking about,
it didn't really hit me until like a quarantine listen through last year. I was like, that's what this song. Oh fuck, like
I might not be a man yet, but that man will never be.
Yeah, that bastard will never be.
The bastard will never be. Yeah.
Oh man, like
that's heavy, man. I do like a good murder ballad. I just wrote one recently that I've been toying around with, and I think it's all right. But,
I just like. I'm sitting here thinking about it. Like I just want to like read the whole damn song because it's a short song. Like it's a great tune. You tell him. Oh, it's on now.
Yeah, it is. There she goes, off to police the neighborhood again.
Go line by line with this because it's so powerful. Yeah, and it's just like it's a holy shit.
So he meets the girl in class.
So so
he's a kid.
It starts. It's I can barely make out a little light from the house on the cul-de-sac. A bedroom upstairs. It's a family affair. So like it's involving the whole family, obviously. So it's kind of weird because he's like watching what's going on.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I've watched you in class. Your eyes are cut glass, and you stay covered up, head to your toes, so nobody will notice you. So basically, like trying to hide it, the fact that like all this is happening.
That shit's going down. Yeah.
And then, of course, it gets into the hook, which is, I might not be a man yet, but that bastard will never be. So I'm cleaning my Weatherby. Yeah. Which I stupidly didn't know that a Weatherby was a rifle. But I have since learned that.
Yeah. But I kind of put 2 and 2 together. I was looking up what kind of.
I mean, I figured it was a gun.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know either.
Yeah, it's a hunting rifle.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess I could kind of put 2 and 2 together. Yeah. So I sighted my scope.
Right. Yeah. True. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So anyway, it says, your mother seems nice. I don't understand why she won't say anything, as if she can't see who he turned out to be. Like, fuck, like know, like it's a powerful song, and like in reading interviews and stuff with him about it, he talks about how it's not necessarily a personal experience that he had, but he knows like he was never sexually abused, but the number of people, the percentage of people who are is fucking staggering.
It's wild, man.
So, but nobody talks about it. And it's a shameful thing to talk about it. And he's like, fuck no. Like, I'm going to write this damn song, and it's going to be about dealing with it.
I love it.
Dealing with it.
Yeah, it's
the Alabama way, if you will.
Yeah, right. The real Alabama way on both sides of it. I mean, it's heavy though when you hit it because it's not like a chorus that like grabs you immediately, but it's like it kind of coasts into it, and then and then you're like, oof.
And just like the last verse, and it ends so abruptly too.
Well, because it's the whole
It's like, saw your father last night, in the window. The light made a silhouette. Saw him hold you that way. He won't hold you that way anymore. Yvette.
Bang. Yeah.
Like, it doesn't end with a bang, just by the way.
Shot him
but
through the window, yeah.
it's like, fuck. Like,
Yeah, it's heavy. It's heavy.
Yeah.
I do love that. Love that one
it's
a
a
lot.
powerfully dark song, for
Yes.
sure.
I love me some dark tunes. I love dark lyrical content. That's my favorite shit. That's what I grew up on. That's what I love. So
We should do Amigo the Devil one day.
Oh yeah. Dude,
Talk
you
about dark
sent
stuff.
me a bunch of that stuff. I, to be honest with you, full disclosure, have not gotten around to doing that yet.
Yeah.
But when you sent me the
Like Cocaine and Abel's a
yes,
great tune to listen to.
yeah. When I think you sent me that one when I posted about the murder
Probably,
ballad or whatever,
yes.
and I listened to it, I was like, oh my god, this is weird in a good way.
Yeah.
Like it's off the.
It's kind of hokey, like as
Yeah,
far
but
as
it's
like musically, but
it's
like,
off the beaten path. It's
Yeah.
not something that, like if you told somebody who is maybe not a musician or a music nerd, they'd be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But like you can appreciate it because
for sure.
because we're writers, because we
Yes.
write our own stuff. So it's like, oh, interesting, so I gotta give it more credit and do a deeper dive on that for sure. So
it's good stuff, man.
yeah. All right. So relatively easy. We kind of already talked about.
Yeah, because that's my deep cut pick.
Yeah. So okay. So
Jumping
Elephant.
back to Elephant.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
The
want to spend some
ever-important-
time on this one
yes.
because it is. I first heard this song. My friend Glenn Lee played this at the Troubled Waters open mic on Tuesday nights, and we talked about this on the episode that we recorded. And I remember listening to that song, and I was really picking the lyrics out because when he tells me that he's covering an Isbell song, I like to listen to the story behind it.
Yes.
And I remember hearing this song, and I was like, "What is this?" And I'm like trying to piece it together because he names these songs, and then you find out what he's talking about in the middle, and then you're
Right.
like, "Oh, yeah." So the elephant, for those that haven't listened to the song, the elephant in the room is impending doom or death. So the whole metaphor of it, not really a metaphor, but he's good friends with someone who is sick and dying of cancer, terminally ill.
Which it doesn't even really say that until like 3/4 of the way through this. When she was drunk, she made cancer jokes.
Yep.
And you go, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Now you're like, you just thought it was like an awkward. I always thought of it as like an awkward 24-hour bar relationship.
Yes.
Like if I fucked her before she got sick, I'd never hear the end of it. Yeah. I thought sick meaning drunk when during the first listen. But it's and then the whole thing they kind of hint at it in the beginning of the song where it's like
sweep up her
hair from the floor. I remember listening to that, man, and I was like, holy fuck, because I've obviously dealt with a lot of cancer in my family. I don't know about yours, and it is a fucking beast to deal with.
Yeah.
And it is because you never know. You never really know.
Oh, no,
you know what I mean?
sure.
Like it can, it's such a weird thing with the chemistry in everybody's body. They're going to respond to everything differently. But the fact that he's telling the story from the eyes of someone watching this happen, and not really giving the full story of what the person who was sick was going through. Like he doesn't know everything. He just knows what he's seeing. He's reporting what he's seeing.
Right.
That one thing that's real clear to me is that no one dies with dignity.
Yeah.
And like the whole thing, the line that always gets me is when he does when he says surrounded by our family, I saw that she was dying alone.
Yes.
So it didn't matter. I was like, ugh, yeah. You hear that and it's just like it really hurts to hear.
I don't want to know the author specifically, but there's a quote that I'm pretty sure that's like almost directly pulled from novel-wise or poem-wise, where it basically says, no matter what, you die alone. Like, that's the gist of the quote. I'm terribly paraphrasing, and I'm sorry to any literature aficionados who know what quote I'm talking about, but it's like no matter what, no matter when, no matter who, like everybody dies alone.
Yeah. And it's a great way to end the podcast. No. All right, so I got one final question, and then we can wrap this up. Swinging from profound stupidity. So this is the whole theme of the podcast. So the scratch track, you know this because you were in the studio. The scratch track is kind of something to kind of just get like a phrasing, a pace, a tempo for the melody to what to harmonize with. So it's not necessarily like a final cut. So what would your scratch track be if not and I say this about everything, not necessarily a do-over, just something maybe that you would have done if you knew immediately you were going to get another shot at it. Like if you knew you had a parachute on your back, would you have jumped to do something that you didn't initially do, or something that you loved that you want to go back to? I don't know.
God damn.
You don't have to, it doesn't have to be anything specific. Too. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. It can be anything.
It's one of those things that like I'm trying to make more profound than it really is.
Yeah.
You ask me a question like that, I'm like, wow, let me contemplate my entire existence real quick and try to come up with an astute answer.
Yeah.
I think honestly it would have been taking it more seriously earlier.
Yeah.
Not because I'm on any kind of specific timeline, but because
You're talking about taking music more serious?
Because I feel like it would set me up to be not necessarily a better songwriter, but a more proficient songwriter.
Yeah, that's true.
So it would speed up my process if I was a little bit better of a musician.
I like that. I like that answer. To be honest with you, that's the first repeat answer that we've gotten.
Oh, really?
And my dad, when I had my dad on here, he talked about, spoiler alert if this episode comes out before that one, but he talked about taking his athletic career a little bit more seriously, like growing up, because he played college basketball, obviously. So a lot of it is, I've gotten that answer 3 times now, so taking it more seriously in the beginning. And I kind of wish I did too. I kind of wish I didn't. One of my biggest things in life was I didn't think I was smart enough to play the guitar. I just kept pounding that into my own head. I'm like, no, I'm not smart enough for that. I can't. I won't be able to do it. And I kept believing that. And then I picked it up. I'm like, it's not that hard. Like it is hard. It's a very difficult instrument to master. But in terms of like just picking it up and figuring a few things out, it's not that difficult.
Here's a perspective thing that somebody once said to me, and I don't remember exactly who, and I don't want to give credit to the wrong person, but it was something along the lines of there's 26 letters in the alphabet and only 12 notes in music.
Right.
Trust me, you can do it.
Yeah.
Like paraphrasing again, but like it's basically like, hey, you're working with like less than half the material.
Yeah.
And look how many fucking words you can say in a day.
Yeah.
You can play the music.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just in the beginning, I remember it being it was so relieving to figure out. I was like, oh, this is something that's attainable. But you don't think about it until you start playing, until you start actually practicing. I mean, dude, I didn't play live. I knew how to play guitar, and I didn't play live for like 2.5 years because I was like, if I fuck this up, I'm never gonna play it again.
I was like,
I had to know that I was gonna bring some sort of relatively listenable product out into like an open mic setting, because if I didn't, then I was gonna be like, well, I guess I tried, that's it, you know. And I had a lot of like overly honest friends with me too, and I brought them with me on purpose because I was asking them after, I was like, how did it sound? And they're like, honestly, it was fine, it was good. You can do better, but it was good. You know, I didn't want people to go out there like, oh, you did so good. That's the worst, man. When you know you just stepped in shit in a song, and like everybody's like, oh, you did so great. I was like, I know I didn't though. I know I didn't.
On things like that, I mean that kind of still happens to me now.
Yeah.
But that's like part of me appreciates when somebody like you or another musician friend of mine stops by, because I'm like, I can't really sound check myself from the back of the room. Here, so they'll come up and like I'll be like, how does it sound in the room? And they'll be like, well, you need a little bit more mid, you need to pull out some of the trebles, or they'll give you like adjustments there, if not just guitar needs to come up a little bit, like. And
I appreciate that too, because it gets lost in the chatter from all the way back, because like especially if you're not plugged into a house system, you don't have a I never play with a monitor really. I just set my speaker up like behind me. I will say, you use the in-ears, right?
Yes, and that's something I've just recently started doing. I started doing that in the last year, and it has made a world of difference, because I feel like even with having like the backfill, if you will, it still kind of had a, like I felt myself still kind of like straining on the mic. Yeah. But with having the in-ears and having that sound right there,
you get a real,
like it really keeps me from pushing myself too hard vocally.
I like that.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah. No, I got to look into some new gear, man. I was saving up for some new stuff, but obviously now I'm just trying to stay on my fucking feet.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, this was fun, man. We got to do some more Isbell for
absolutely.
Sure. We'll do this for sure.
Absolutely.
We're going to do it again. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Nathan Allen. Go ahead and plug one more time what you want to plug.
Oh, so EP's out on Spotify and iTunes and all that fun stuff. If you search Nathan Allen, you're going to find a guy plays saxophone, I think, in the San Francisco Bay Area. But
not you.
if you search Nathan Allen, It Had to Be This Way, and include the title of the album, it pops right up. So, and then also on Facebook and Instagram, it's N Allen Music, _Nate_Allen on Twitter, which you will never see me post there unless I'm trying to grandstand to some celebrity. And get attention for some bullshit posts. I do that from time to time. Like, I listen to the Fake Doctors Real Friends podcast. And I'll occasionally get on there and be like, hey, Zach Braff, hey, Donald Faison, hey, Joel Monique. Like, like, think about this for the podcast.
All right, where else? You have anything coming up and like any big shows in the month of February or March?
Don't really have anything big coming up, but I post all my shows and stuff on Instagram and on Facebook. So hop on there and check those out. We'll be rolling out a new website soon, so
cool.
That's also fun.
Yeah, man. Well, this was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being here for another episode. As always, follow us on Instagram, the Scratch Track Podcast. Follow us on Facebook. That's just the Scratch Track Podcast Facebook page. You can check out my schedule too at Josh Plummer Music on Instagram and Facebook as well. And then if you want to email us or send us a list of things that you want us to cover, maybe a guest that you want us to have on here, if you want to be on here yourself, or an album that you want us to cover, email us at the scratchtrackpod@gmail.com. And that'll come to me, and then we'll get this thing rolling. So we'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll have Nate back on here to talk about some more Isbell very soon.
The show.
Hope you guys have a good week. See ya.
Going where it takes me.